Chapter 18-19. The Power of Order. This was the strongest power that Lin Tian knew of. However, he did not know what it was. "I'll ask Wei when I go back next time," he said to himself. He was muttering to himself. Bai Ziki and the others could not help but fall into deep thought. What Lin Tian said was really too shocking. No matter what, it's still a super divine item. We have to find a way to get it, the white tiger said as it tugged on its paw. We can try, but that thing is not easy to get. Lin Tian now. That world seed existed in a strange space at the end of the ancient road. If one wanted to get it, it had nothing to do with one's cultivation level. He knew from the mind of that chaotic tribe cultivator that many immortal emperors had tried to get it, but none of them could. If it's not easy to get it, then think of a way to get it. This kind of supreme treasure definitely cannot fall into the hands of others, the wishing crocodile said. Its eyes were shining, and it was almost drooling. A seed that could nurture a power stronger than order. Just the sound of it was endlessly tempting. Lin Tian glanced at it, and did not say anything. He called out to the group, and they continued to walk toward the end of the ancient road. Boom! Right at this moment, in the distant sky, an extremely shocking divine power appeared. A figure was heading straight toward them. There was a faint aura of a god-king floating in the air, causing the whole space to tremble involuntarily. This caused Lin Tian and the others to be moved. However, in the next moment, when they saw the face of the figure that was exuding the aura of a god-king, they all sighed in relief. This person was surprisingly the vice-dean of the Lord Theological Seminary, Guqin. Guqin came very quickly, and in the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Lin Tian and the others. Senior! Lin Tian and the others hurriedly greeted him. Just now, they had thought that it was a god-king from the chaotic tribe. Guqin nodded at them, and directly said to Lin Tian Dao, "This is only a strand of my divine sense, and it can't last for too long. There are some things that I want to tell you," he said. "You've heard about the Saint Realm at the end of the ancient road, right?" "I know a little." Before Lin Tian could speak, the white tiger could not help but say, "Lin Tian searched the sea of consciousness of a chaotic tribe true god. I heard that it was not a sacred region, but a superworld seed." Guqin was a little surprised, but he did not hide it. He was prepared to tell this to the group anyway. It is indeed a world seed that was discovered countless years ago. The Lord Theological Seminary was established for the sole purpose of finding the person who could obtain and make that world seed blossom and bear fruit. That thing is very important to the future of the world. It concerns the future of the great heaven and earth? So exaggerated? Wishing Crocodile glared at him. Even Lin Tian, who had the strongest state of mind in the group, was moved. The Lord Theological Seminary existed to find the person who could obtain and make that world seed blossom. Although he was also shocked by this, compared to Guqin's last sentence, this shock was obviously nothing. Guqin's last sentence, that world seed was actually related to the future of the world. One had to know that the real world was not as simple as a few worlds. It was the sum of the endless worlds and the boundless starry sky. It was the general name of all the places where light and darkness existed. Although that world seed was very shocking, it could be said to be the most precious treasure of the world. However, he did not expect that thing to be related to such a shocking relationship. Whether it is exaggerated or not, even I can't say for sure. However, I know that it is very important, very important. Guqin's expression was very serious as he said, "The Lord Theological Seminary has an ancient teaching that has been passed down for countless years. The Imperial Courtyard has to find the person who can obtain that world seed, but not just anyone can do it. It also mentioned that it must not fall into the hands of a few big clans or a group of powerful people. The chaotic tribe is one of them." "This, why?" Ling Yun muttered. "Why does it feel like the chaotic tribe is the enemy of this world? Don't tell me they want to unify this world?" "I don't know, I can't explain it clearly." Guqin shook his head. The Emperor God Academy had been established for countless years. As the current vice principal, he didn't know how long the Emperor God Academy had been in existence. That ancient teaching was just a simple sentence. What it involved was that the world seed can affect the future of the world, and it can't fall into the hands of the primal chaos race or other great races. Neither he nor the current principal knew what it meant. They only knew that since the founders of the Academy had left behind this ancient teaching, it naturally had an extremely important meaning. They definitely couldn't be careless. Aren't you the Deputy Dean of the Imperial Courtyard? Why are you so unclear about the ancient teaching of the Lord Theological Seminary? The White Tiger muttered. Lin Tian did not think too much about it. He looked at Guqing, paused, and asked, "Then, Senior, why are you looking for us?" Guqing deliberately used a strand of divine consciousness to enter the ancient road to find them. Naturally, he did not think that Guqing was just here to chat. There must be something. Guqing nodded and said in a deep voice, "The chaotic tribe is here for the world seed. I and the other higher-ups of the Lord Theological Seminary are pinned down at this time. We are unable to enter the ancient road for the time being. However, a large number of powerful cultivators from the chaotic tribe have entered to obtain the world seed. Moreover, there are a few outstanding cultivators among them," he said. "It's not that easy to get the world seed. Even the cultivators from the primal chaos tribe who entered here, including those amazing people, might not be able to get it. However, we can't be careless." He looked at Lin Tian and said, "We are pinned down for the time being. The world seed exists at the end of the ancient road. I hope that you will do your best to stop the cultivators from the chaotic tribe from reaching the end of the ancient road. Stop them from getting close to the world seed." Then, he changed the topic and said, "Of course, it would be best if you can obtain it yourself." Lin Tian heard this and nodded without hesitation. "Okay." Putting aside the fact that the Chaos race wanted to kill them and was their enemy, and that he himself was very interested in the world seed and wanted to take a look at it, he didn't want the world seed to fall into the hands of the Chaos race. Just the fact that Guqing had saved his life in secret made it impossible for him to reject Guqing's request. As he spoke, he looked at Guqing and continued, "However, before that, Junior has to find something first. I think Senior ought to know what that thing is. Senior, please tell Junior where that thing is located on the ancient path." Guqing naturally knew what Lin Tian was talking about, and said, "That thing exists in the latter half of this ancient path." As he said this, he directly pointed out a finger, and a faint ray of light entered between Lin Tian's eyebrows. As the ray of light entered between his eyebrows, Lin Tian's eyes lit up. The ray of light that Guqing pointed out not only had a specific coordinate, but also contained images. Among them was a colorful light source. Chapter 1820. Lin Tian's eyes lit up when he found out the exact location of the Sword Soul fragment on the ancient road. Now, he could save a lot of time searching for the Sword Soul fragment. "Thank you, Senior!" he thanked Guqing. Guqing waved his hand, and his body suddenly became extremely faint. His real body was fighting with the experts of the chaotic tribe, so his divine consciousness could only exist for a short period of time. "I'll leave the matter of the world seed to you. I really hope that you'll have the chance to obtain it," he said. The purpose of the Lord Theological Seminary was to find the person who could obtain the world seed. Lin Tian was not from the chaotic tribe or the few special experts in the Imperial Courtyard's ancient teachings. If Lin Tian could obtain the world seed, he would naturally be very happy. After all, this meant that the purpose of the Lord Theological Seminary's existence had been achieved. As he finished speaking, his body became even fainter. Finally, he nodded at Lin Tian and instantly disappeared. "This is a huge and difficult task," the White Tiger muttered. It was not an easy task to ambush more than 10,000 experts of the chaotic tribe. After all, there were hundreds of heavenly gods among the 10,000 chaotic tribe cultivators, and some of them were peak heavenly gods. Their overall strength was much stronger than theirs. "That Senior has done me a favor, so I'll naturally repay it," Lin Tian now said. "Moreover, the chaotic tribe cultivators who entered wanted to kill us all. We'll just treat it as an eye for an eye. It's no big deal." As he spoke, he called out to Baiziki and the others. They flew into the air and headed toward the second half of the ancient road as fast as they could. This ancient road was very special. Although they could fly and shatter space, it was very difficult to open up a space tunnel and travel a long distance. Perhaps even Immortal King level experts would find it difficult to do so. How long will it take to reach the exact location of that thing? Whooshing Crocodile asked. With our current speed, it'll take us about a year or so to fly non-stop, Lin Tian now said. What? 1 year? Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened. Obviously, it didn't expect it to take so long. This ancient road is not short. In a situation where we are unable to open a spatial tunnel, there is nothing we can do about it. Lin Tian now. He didn't say anything else. He called out to the group of people and headed straight into the depths of the ancient path. At the same time, they also released their powerful divine senses to search for valuable immortal treasures in the surroundings. In the blink of an eye, half a month's time passed. Their group traveled through the air, moving far into the depths of the ancient path. Half a month later, on this day, dozens of waves of shocking divine might came from behind them. Some cultivators of the chaotic tribe had arrived at the same spot. When they saw the group of people, they didn't say anything. Some of them immediately attacked, sending out murderous light. This was a peak-level true god expert. He only sent out a single beam of killing light, but it was extremely terrifying. It completely locked down the space in all directions. The killing aura enveloped Lin Tianyi and the others, as if it could destroy everything. F***CK, this group of chaotic tribe dogs. Another group of them caught up so quickly. This killing light is really... White Tiger cursed. It was only a half-step to true god. Facing the killing light from a peak-level true god, it naturally felt terrified. Lin Tian now waved his hand and sent out a golden sword light. The golden sword light was the essence of the sword essence of the Ling Tian sword manual. It instantly shattered the killing light from the true god of the chaotic tribe. Then, it continued to attack without slowing down. With a poof, it penetrated the body of the chaotic tribe cultivator who attacked and shattered him. Moreover, even his spiritual soul was annihilated. This, among the dozens of cultivators of the chaotic tribe, most of them were shocked. A peak-level true god had been killed by a casual strike of the sword. This kind of combat power shocked them and their pupils constricted. One of the cultivators of the chaotic tribe looked at the middle-aged man in a black robe and said, "Sir, this human, the cultivator of the chaotic tribe who was killed previously, was the most powerful cultivator among them other than the middle-aged man in a black robe. That person had been killed by Lin Tianyi's sword." They instantly knew how terrifying Lin Tianyi was. They knew that only the middle-aged man in a black robe could deal with Lin Tianyi. This was because the middle-aged man in a black robe was a heavenly god in the middle stage. The middle-aged man in a black robe looked cold. Without saying anything, he raised his hand and a ray of chaotic light slashed towards Lin Tianyi. Middle stage heavenly god! As this person made his move, 5 elements crocodile and the others instantly sensed this person's cultivation, and their expressions all changed. Moreover, not to mention his cultivation, the chaotic light that he had slashed towards them sent chills down their spines. An oppressive force sealed the surroundings in the blink of an eye. They did not know how much more powerful he was than the peak-level true god who had attacked earlier. Lin Tianyi narrowed his eyes. Naturally, he felt the pressure. After all, his opponent was a heavenly god in the middle stage. However, although he felt the pressure, he was not afraid at all. He swung his Chaos Emperor fist to meet the attack. With a thud, his fist slammed down and collided with the chaotic light that the middle-aged man in a black robe had slashed towards him. With a swoosh, the chaotic light shattered into pieces. How is this possible? His cultivation is only a true god in the middle stage. To be able to kill a peak-level true god in an instant should be his limit. To be able to block Sir's attack this. The dozens of cultivators behind the middle-aged man in a black robe were shocked. The middle-aged man in a black robe narrowed his eyes. Then, a cold light flashed across his eyes. He took a step towards Lin Tianyi. Boom! The heavenly god's aura surged. He pressed down on the divine light handprint, which was intertwined with majestic divine power. It was as if it could suppress everything in the world. Lin Tianyi did not waste any time. His divine power vibrated, and he swung his Chaos Emperor fist again. Boom! The powerful punch was even more powerful than the previous one. It collided with the middle-aged man in a black robe and did not lose ground. However, it did not gain the upper hand at all. After all, with his current cultivation, it was still very difficult for him to fight a heavenly god in the middle stage. The middle-aged man in a black robe's face darkened. He was a little uncomfortable that he could not suppress a true god in the middle stage after 2 consecutive attacks. After a cold snort, heavenly god-level divine power surged and he attacked Lin Tianyi violently. Lin Tianyi did not dodge. He held up the reincarnation map and used the Thunder Divine Path and Nature Divine Path at the same time. He also used various other superpowers and secret skills to fight the heavenly god from the chaotic tribe head-on. Boom! 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 This was an astonishing battle, causing the surrounding void to collapse. With his mid-stage true divinity-level cultivation base, he faced his opponent head-on. Although he was under great pressure, he didn't show any signs of being defeated. They were basically evenly matched. Wu Yimi, is this all you've got? You can't even suppress a true god in the middle stage. That's a little embarrassing. A mocking voice was heard. Another chaotic tribe cultivator appeared in the sky. He was a middle-aged man surrounded by chaotic light. He was also a heavenly god in the middle stage. He walked towards them step by step. Let me give you a hand. Chapter 1821. The dazzling divine light fell on Lin Tian, intertwined with a shocking killing intent. It was even stronger than the black-robed middle-aged man that Lin Tian was fighting. Lin Tian was immediately shaken. With his current combat strength, blocking a middle-stage divine realm expert was already his limit. If another middle-stage divine realm expert attacked him at the same time, he would definitely not be able to defend himself. Boom! The intertwined divine light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it fell in front of Lin Tian, annihilating the void in all directions. Clang! It was also at this moment that a majestic sword hum rang out. Not far away, a beam of sword light slashed over. It was extremely sharp, and with a swoosh, it shattered the divine light that was about to descend upon Lin Tian. Moreover, the sword light did not slow down at all. It slashed toward the cultivator from the chaotic tribe who had unleashed the divine light. Its speed was even faster than the divine light, and in the blink of an eye, it arrived before the middle-aged man who had unleashed the divine light. The middle-aged man from the chaotic tribe had long brown hair. He shattered the sword light with one palm. He looked in the direction where the sword light came from and said coldly, "Who is it?" At the same time, Lin Tian was also shaken. While fighting the black-robed middle-aged man, he also looked in the direction where the sword light came from. There, a man in black walked over. He seemed to be silent, which made Lin Tian's expression change slightly. At the same time, Bai Ziki and the others were also shocked. "It's him!" Ling Yan's eyes flashed with surprise. The black-robed man was none other than Mo Byron, the young supremacy who ranked first on the ranking of 100 immortals. Mo Byron walked over and glanced at Lin Tian. Then, he walked toward the middle-aged man with long brown hair. "A half-step divine realm expert? You want to fight me?" The brown-haired expert's eyes turned cold. "You're courting death!" With a boom, divine light burst out from his body. Endless chaotic light intertwined and pressed down on Mo Byron. This strike was at least 10 times stronger than the ball of divine radiance that struck towards Lin Tian earlier. Mo Byron's expression did not change. In the blink of an eye, he was enveloped by the divine light. However, when the chaotic light filled with murderous intent landed on him, it did not cause him any harm. He walked out of the divine light silently. He did not slow down and continued to walk toward the middle-aged man with brown hair. This caused everyone's expression to change. That mass of chaotic killing light was actually useless against Embark? Just now, he didn't seem to have used any defensive spells at all. But now how could he? Ling Yun and the others were shocked. Lin Tian was also surprised. When Embark appeared, he had been watching him closely. His eyesight and divine sense were much stronger than ordinary people, so he was sure that Embark didn't put up any defense. However, that brown-haired middle-aged man's primal chaos light had no effect on Embark. This was hard for him to understand. What happened? The black-robed middle-aged man who was fighting against him narrowed his eyes. He couldn't help but frown at what was happening. The brown-haired middle-aged man's eyes turned cold. A mere half-step heavenly god, a human cultivator that their tribe looked down on, had actually rendered his killing ray, a mid-stage heavenly god of the primal chaos tribe, ineffective. I'll end you! That person coldly spoke. With a thunderous boom, an even more terrifying primordial light gushed out, transforming into a gigantic primordial chaos sword. Its sharp sword intent seemed to want to slash apart everything in this world as it slashed down towards Embark. In the blink of an eye, the primal chaos sword was right in front of Embark. The heavenly god-level sword power was surging violently. Embark was still silent. As the faint light flickered, a boundless heavenly river appeared behind him. It was completely formed by the primal chaos light, and there were even large stars orbiting within it. It seemed to be able to suppress the heavens and the earth, intertwining with an unparalleled majesty. This is... Lin Tian was the first to be shocked. At the same time, the two heavenly gods of the chaotic tribe, Bai Ziki, Wishing Crocodile, and Ai Yao Yao, and Fanning Xiong, were all shocked. Chaotic body, King's domain, primal chaos immortal river. Ling Yun's eyes widened. He's a chaotic body? Rumbling sounds could be heard. Behind Embark, the primal chaos immortal river surged violently. The waves rose to the sky and surrounded many stars. The power was so strong that it made people's hearts palpitate. Chaotic body, so that's what it is. No wonder the primal chaos killing light that the heavenly god of the chaotic tribe unleashed was useless against him. Lin Tian's eyes lit up. At this moment, he could not help but stop fighting with the black-robed middle-aged man from the chaotic tribe. They stood opposite each other, and their gazes fell upon Embark. The primal chaos light that the brown-haired chaotic tribe cultivator had unleashed, and the primal chaos light that surrounded the other chaotic tribe cultivators was because they had lived in the chaotic world for a long time, and cultivated the ancient scriptures about chaos. The chaotic body, on the other hand, was born from the fusion of chaos and could control all chaotic energy. It could be said that it was the core of chaos. Ordinary chaotic energy could not hurt the chaotic body at all, just like how a drop of water could not drown an ocean. Of course, this also depended on the difference in cultivation level. After all, a half-step heavenly god chaotic body would not be able to withstand the primal chaos light that was unleashed by an ordinary divine emperor chaotic tribe cultivator. Even if the chaotic body was born from the fusion of chaos, the body would not be able to withstand it. However, the brown-haired middle-aged man's cultivation level was not much higher than Embark's. There was only a difference of 2 small levels. As such, he could not do anything to Embark. It could be said that Embark was the natural counter to his opponent. You! The brown-haired middle-aged man was shocked and angry. He could not help but take a step back. He was a little afraid of Embark. This was because the king of his tribe had the chaotic body. He naturally knew how terrifying the chaotic body was. It was known as the strongest body constitution under the reincarnation body. If the reincarnation body did not appear, it would be able to suppress all bloodline constitutions under normal circumstances. He would never have thought that stepping onto the ancient road and attacking Lin Tian would provoke a chaotic body. Embark strode towards his opponent. Without saying anything else, the primal chaos light that was intertwined by the primal chaos immortal river behind him became even more terrifying. In the next moment, the primal chaos light that was intertwined by the primal chaos immortal river pressed down on the brown-haired chaotic tribe expert. In the blink of an eye, the primal chaos immortal river covered all directions. Vaguely, the the primal Kaith's divine Tao intertwined and enveloped his opponent. No! The heavenly god Ter Powerhouse screamed in horror as he summoned a massive amount of divine power to defend himself. However, it was futile. In an instant, the chaotic celestial river crushed his divine power light screen. Then, his physical body and divine soul were crushed into pieces. This is really... In the distance, Ling Yun could not help but stare. He killed the middle stage heavenly god with one blow. The chaotic body, the number one on the ranking of 100 immortals. He really lives up to his name. But... how terrifying! Wishing Crocodile could not help but shrink his neck. Bai Ziki and Yang Qi's eyes shone brightly as they stared at Mo Byron. Both of them couldn't help but want to fight. Chapter 1822. Lin Tian naturally knew that Mo Byron was trying to help him. He roughly knew the reason as well. When Mo Byron was refining the Origin Divine Weapon, he had helped him. Mo Byron was obviously trying to return the favor. After Mo Byron killed the brown-haired middle-aged man, he asked if he still needed help. He shook his head. "Many thanks, but there's no need," he said. With that, he channeled the Sun Heart Sutra to the maximum with a boom. The reincarnation diagram rose up once again and merged with the nameless Tao Law, Thunder Divine Tao, and Nature Divine Tao to form the strongest reincarnation diagram of the Divine Tao. However, compared to before, the reincarnation diagram was undoubtedly many times stronger. In his body, the power of faith in the immortal Emperor Pagoda surged out and intertwined in his body, increasing his battle prowess by roughly 3 times in an instant. The divine might that erupted from his body also increased by 3 times. Boom! As he raised the divine Tao reincarnation diagram with his battle prowess increased by 3 times, a divine and majestic aura surged out. This was the strongest reincarnation diagram he had ever created. As this aura surged out, even though Mo Byron's expression didn't change, his eyes flickered. The black-robed middle-aged man from the chaotic tribe trembled. He cursed inwardly. Damn it! Then, he turned around and fled. At this time, he felt the terrifying power of Lin Tian's reincarnation diagram. He felt the threat of death. If he tried to resist, he definitely wouldn't be able to. Moreover, there was a chaotic body beside him. He wouldn't be able to block it. Therefore, no matter what, he could only escape to have a chance of survival. Lin Tian's eyes were indifferent. With a single thought, the reincarnation diagram that was supported by 3 times the battle prowess directly pressed down on his opponent. Boundless energy surged out. The reincarnation diagram that was supported by 3 times the battle prowess was incomparably tyrannical. The divine might instantly sealed the space in all directions. The black-robed middle-aged man from the chaotic tribe was shocked, angry, and terrified that his escape route was blocked. He summoned his heavenly god-level divine might to meet the attack. However, under the divine path reincarnation diagram that Lin Tian had activated with 3 times his battle prowess, the divine might he had unleashed was clearly not enough. It was crushed to pieces at the first moment. Afterwards, the divine path reincarnation diagram continued to press down without slowing down. Ah! With a blood-curdling scream, the black-robed middle-aged man from the chaotic race was crushed by the supreme Tao reincarnation diagram. His divine soul perished along with it. This brat's battle strength seems to have soared a lot. He's only a mid-stage true god, but he can actually kill a mid-stage heavenly god. Ling Yun's eyes widened. He didn't know that Lin Tian had tripled his combat strength with the power of faith. Amazing! Anayani said. Pervert! The white tiger muttered. Bai Ziki, Yang Qi, and the others were visibly shaken. Lin Tian, a mid-true god, had killed a mid-heaven god. It was a shocking sight. How could this be? Weak humans, you actually. In another position, dozens of Primal Kaith's tribe cultivators were trembling. The fact that Mo Byron had killed one of their mid-stage heavenly deities was enough to shock them. However, no matter what, Mo Byron was still a half-step heavenly deity. Moreover, he could restrain their chaos physique. But now, Lin Tian, a mid-stage true god, had actually killed one of their mid-stage heavenly deities in one strike. Go! Retreat! Among the dozens of Primal Chaos tribe cultivators, one of them shouted in a trembling voice and turned to flee. Now that two of their heavenly god-tier powerhouses had been killed, how were they going to fight back? They could only run. In an instant, swooshing sounds could be heard as the dozens of Primal Chaos tribe cultivators fled at lightning speed. Lin Tian glanced at the dozens of Primal Chaos tribe cultivators. With a casual wave of his hand, a large number of sword rays shot out like raindrops. At this time, his tripled combat strength was no longer there. Moreover, his essence, energy, and spirit were much weaker than when he was at his peak. However, the sword rays he shot out were still terrifying. It was easy for him to kill ordinary cultivators below the heavenly god level. Suddenly, puff, puff, puff. Streaks of blood mist exploded, dyeing a large area of the void red. The dozens of Primal Chaos tribe cultivators were all killed in the blink of an eye. Their bodies and spirits were all destroyed. Killing true gods is like chopping grass. The white tiger rolled his eyes. Lin Tian's combat strength was too strong. Lin Tian himself did not react to this. He walked in the void and stood in front of Mo Byron. Thank you? He thanked Mo Byron again. He had the power of faith. After tripling his combat strength, he could kill a middle-stage heavenly god. However, that would consume a lot of divine power. Moreover, that level of combat strength could only be maintained for an instant. After that instant, he might not even be able to defeat an early-stage heavenly god. On this day, two middle-stage heavenly gods came together. If Mo Byron did not appear to help, they would be in trouble. Mo Byron shook his head. Lin Tian had helped him more than 10 years ago. He felt that it was only right for him to help now. Those people just now were Primal Chaos tribe cultivators. They came from another world. Lin Tian told Mo Byron some things about the Primal Chaos tribe. I know, Mo Byron said. Mo Byron said. He had also been attacked by Primal Chaos race cultivators before. Just like Lin Tian, he had also searched the other party's sea of consciousness and learned many things. He nodded at Lin Tian and did not say anything else. He walked toward the southeast and soon disappeared. What a terrifying man! I didn't expect to meet another Primal Chaos physique of the same generation. Whooshing Crocodile murmured. Back in the 10 Directions heavenly domain, there was also a Primal Chaos physique. He was said to be invincible among his peers. In the end, he was killed by Lin Tian with a saint weapon. Lin Tian glanced in that direction and said, "All right, let's go." Now, his first goal was to obtain the Sword Soul Fragment. He called Bai Ziki and the others to continue walking toward the depths of the ancient road. They were all moving at a very fast speed. Time passed little by little. The ancient road became extremely chaotic after the Primal Chaos tribe's invasion. Most of the Lord Theological Seminary's disciples who entered the ancient road were in a bad situation. This was because although the ordinary disciples of the Lord Theological Seminary were young geniuses, they were obviously much weaker than the Primal Chaos tribe's experts. Lin Tian, Bai Ziki, and the others walked toward the depths of the ancient road. In the blink of an eye, a full year had passed. In a year's time, some of them had been ambushed by the Primal Chaos tribe more than 10 times. There were a few times when it was extremely dangerous. There were peak heavenly gods who chased after them, causing them to almost be annihilated. However, they managed to survive in the end. On this day, Lin Tian led the way. The group concealed their auras and came to a deep mountain surrounded by white fog. "We're here!" When they arrived and looked ahead, Lin Tian's eyes couldn't help but shine. Chapter 1823. Deep in the mountains, the white fog intertwined like the hazy morning fog. When Lin Tian, Bai Ziki, and the rest arrived at this place, they did not hesitate and directly led the group into the deep mountains. This mountain was not very majestic. However, when the group of people walked in it, their divine sense was suppressed. Moreover, the suppression was very strong. Basically, they could not use their divine sense here. They could only rely on their vision to observe the surroundings. The sky was filled with thick fog, and the distance that one could see through was very limited. "We're counting on you, kid," Wishing Crocodile said. He knew that Lin Tian had the eye of delusion and could easily see through the thick white fog in this place. Lin Tian had opened his eye of delusion early in the morning, and strands of dragon patterns surrounded his eyes as he led the group on their way. Soon an hour passed. An hour later, at this moment, Lin Tian's eyes flashed, and the divine sword in his sea of consciousness trembled slightly. This was the reaction of sensing a new sword soul fragment. The divine sword in his sea of consciousness trembled slightly, intertwining with strands of seven-colored divine light, and in his sea of consciousness, it spread out in the direction of the deep mountains. "Let's go!" He led by Ziki and the rest forward, and their pace became a little faster. Soon, they had crossed dozens of miles. At this moment, a pool of water suddenly appeared in front of them, occupying an area of about 100 feet. A fist-sized seven-colored light source floated above it, intertwining with divine light, as if it was the first ray of light before the creation of heaven and earth. "Another ball of this thing," Ling Yun muttered. He had already seen Lin Tian obtain a few balls of this divine light, and every ball of divine light was the same, and their auras were very shocking. "This is..." and Ai Yao Yao was a little moved. With her cultivation, she naturally sensed that this ball of divine light was not ordinary at first glance. Lin Tian's eyes shone brightly. "Found it!" His biggest goal in joining the Lord Theological Seminary and stepping onto this ancient road was to find this thing in front of him. Without a doubt, this was the sword soul fragment of the rainbow divine sword in his sea of consciousness. "Wait for me here." He looked at little Tai Chu and the others. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and arrived at the edge of the pool in an instant. As he came to this position, the seven-colored divine sword in his sea of consciousness immediately trembled. Then, the sword soul fragment above the pool also trembled. It seemed to have sensed the aura of the divine sword and began to resonate with the divine sword. Buzz! Seven-colored light flickered, and the sword's spirit fragment slowly floated up as if it had its own consciousness. In the blink of an eye, it came to Lin Tian and floated up and down. In the next moment, the fist-sized sword soul fragment flashed and entered Lin Tian's body. In the blink of an eye, the sword soul fragment moved around his body and went straight to his sea of consciousness. With a whoosh, it entered the divine sword at the bottom of his sea of consciousness. In an instant, the divine sword trembled and some of the dim divine patterns on it lit up. Then, a majestic seven-colored light overflowed from it. This seven-colored light contained an astonishing amount of celestial spiritual chi, as well as the power of the Great Path, the Immortal Path, and the Divine Path. It surged into Lin Tian's body. Lin Tian's body shook slightly, and his eyes sparkled. He immediately activated the Heart Sutra of Sun and began to refine the seven-colored light that entered his body. In an instant, as he absorbed and refined the seven-colored divine light, his essence, spirit, and cultivation began to rise at a very fast speed. Lin Tian had long been used to this. This was a gift from the sword soul fragment that he found every time he found a new one. It was the power of heaven and earth that the sword soul fragment absorbed. Moreover, every time he found a new sword soul fragment, the amount of power the new sword soul fragment gave him was directly related to his current cultivation level. It was as if the sword soul fragment had its own consciousness. He stood by the pool and the seven-colored light surrounded his body. As time passed, it became more and more dazzling. In the blink of an eye, a total of 7 days passed. After 7 days, the new sword soul fragment and the divine sword had completely merged. The seven-colored divine light around his body gradually disappeared, leaving only the golden divine light surrounding his body. It had become many times more stable than before. "Middle stage true God realm," he muttered to himself. Since the gift of the new sword soul fragment, his cultivation level had improved tremendously. Now, he was not far away from the peak of true God realm. He scanned his sea of consciousness. In it, more of the divine patterns on the 7-colored divine sword had lit up. About 2/9 of it was still dim. I found more than 80% of the sword's soul fragments scattered in heaven and earth. There are still about 20% of them left, he muttered to himself. The 7-colored divine sword in his sea of consciousness was covered with strange divine patterns. He could not understand them. However, every time he found a new sword soul fragment, when the sword soul fragment merged with the divine sword, a part of these strange divine patterns on the surface of the sword would light up. Therefore, he was sure that when all these divine patterns on the surface of the sword lit up, it would be the day when the divine sword would become complete. I wonder how powerful it will be when it is complete. A ray of light flashed in his eyes. This divine sword was the most important reason for him to embark on the path of cultivation. It had a great impact on him. He was also full of expectations for this divine sword. Once it was complete, he was 100% sure that its power would be earth-shattering. He took a deep breath and calmed his mind. Then, he turned around and took a step forward, arriving in front of Ling Yun and the others. That thing, what is it? Ni Yao looked at him and could not help but ask. As a true god, she could feel that the sword's soul fragment was not ordinary. It exuded an unapproachable aura, and its aura was very frightening. She could not help but tremble. She had a feeling that she could not get close to it at all. However, Lin Tian was so close to it and easily took it in his hand. This really surprised her. It's very important. Lin Tian now. He did not say too much about it. He called out to Baiziki and the others to step out of the mountains. Soon they were out of the mountains, to the end of the ancient road. Appearing outside the mountains, he looked at the deepest part of the ancient road and said, now that he had achieved his goal of setting foot on the ancient road, he would immediately go to the deepest part of the ancient road to protect the world seed that existed there. This was what Guqing, who had saved his life, entrusted to him. He had to complete it seriously. Moreover, the significance of the world seed was very special. It was so important that it could affect the future of the world. No matter what, he could not let the cultivators of the chaotic tribe get the world seed. At the same time, he was also very interested in the world seed. If he could do it, he would take it. After all, it was a sacred object that could nurture power that surpassed the power of order. Moreover, this was also what Guqing was looking forward to. She hoped that he could take it. Go, go, go. That world seed must be taken by our own people. We can't let others get it, Wishing Crocodile said. Immediately, the group rose into the air and headed toward the end of the ancient road. Chapter 1824. The chaotic divine light was extremely fast, and the aura it carried was horrifying. Lin Tian and the others could not help but be shocked. Dodge! Lin Tian said in a low voice. He asked Baiziki, Fanningshion, and the others to dodge. At the same time, he moved a few hundred feet away. They dodged the chaotic divine light, which landed on a desolate mountain behind them. The entire desolate mountain was pulverized into ashes, and smoke and dust filled the sky. Then, they raised their heads and looked in the direction where the chaotic divine light came from. There, two figures appeared. They were two middle-aged men. They were surrounded by the chaotic divine light, and their auras were terrifying. Peak of the divine realm! Looking at the two men, Wishing Crocodile was shocked. At the same time, Ling Yun and the others were also shocked. Two Peak of the divine realm masters appeared. With their strength, they would not be able to withstand it no matter what. Only Lin Tian's expression did not change much. Only the intertwining light in his eyes fell on the two middle-aged men. You can actually avoid it. For weak humans, you are not bad. One of the two middle-aged men from the chaotic tribe spoke. He looked at Lin Tian and the others as if he was looking at a group of mortals. Don't talk nonsense. The 10 divine princes will soon arrive in this space. Before that, we will kill all the humans here. That world seed has nothing to do with one's cultivation level. The chances of us getting it are very small. Only the 10 divine princes have the ability to do so, the other man said coldly. The middle-aged man from the chaotic tribe who spoke first nodded. He raised his hand and the chaotic divine handprint appeared, covering all directions. With a rumble, the space was imprisoned. The destructive power pressed down on Lin Tianyi and the others, not giving them any chance to dodge. Facing the chaotic divine handprint pressing down, Wishing Crocodile felt goosebumps all over his body. The existence of the peak of the divine realm was too powerful for them now. They could not fight against it at all. The difference in cultivation level was too great. "You should prepare to become true gods," Lin Tian said. He was not afraid of the giant palm of divine light that was coming down on him. Wishing Crocodile looked at him. "Kid, what are you saying all of a sudden? What true god are we preparing to ascend to? The current situation is that we're about to..." Boom! Divine energy shot up into the sky and shook the surroundings. Rainbow divine light surged out of Lin Tian's body, directly interrupting Wishing Crocodile. A divine sword floated out of his body, surrounded by strands of 7-colored divine light. With a sizzling sound, it shattered the middle-aged chaotic race man's chaotic hand seal. In this place, the heavens trembled, the earth shook, and the void in all directions twisted because of the appearance of the 7-colored divine sword. "This is..." The expressions of Bai Ziki and the others instantly changed. The Wishing Crocodile's expression also changed. Then, its eyes widened, and it was pleasantly surprised. "You can actually summon this thing again!" It naturally knew that there was such a divine sword in Lin Tian's body. It also knew how powerful this divine sword was. "Leave their flesh shells and refine them with the saint refining treasure art. Master Crocodile is ready to ascend to the true god realm." It rubbed its claws excitedly. Now, Lin Tian had summoned the divine sword from his body. It did not care about the two peak celestial gods standing in front of it at all. With Lin Tian's current cultivation of middle-stage true god, this killing sword could definitely kill the two of them. At the same time, in the sky, the middle-aged man from the chaotic clan looked at the divine sword that rushed out of Lin Tian's body and was immediately moved. He naturally felt the horror of this divine sword. Moreover, the other person next to him also narrowed his eyes. However, in the next moment, the two of them revealed a bright light in their eyes, revealing a greedy luster. "Good stuff!" Both of them moved at the same time. They reached out their hands and grabbed the 7-colored divine sword beside Lin Tian. Obviously, their thoughts were exactly the same at this time. They wanted to seize the 7-colored divine sword. With a rumble, two peak celestial gods' divine powers pressed down. It was much more terrifying than the divine light giant handprint just now. Lin Tian looked at the two of them and could not help but sneer. After obtaining the new sword soul fragment in the deep mountain previously, he found that he could temporarily communicate with the 7-colored divine sword in his sea of consciousness. Therefore, when the two peak celestial gods from the chaotic clan pressed down on him, he did not care at all and did not show any fear. At this time, he had successfully summoned the 7-colored divine sword from his sea of consciousness. He had a feeling that he could easily destroy everything. These two people dared to make such a move to snatch the divine sword that he had summoned. He smiled sarcastically. Holding the divine sword that he had summoned from his body, he casually swung the sword at the two people who were pressing down on him. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing and shook all directions. The invisible sword momentum was like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. It was unstoppable. Poof! Poof! Blood sputtered. The two middle-aged men from the chaotic clan who were pressing down on him exploded immediately, and were slashed into two clouds of blood mist. This sword! And Yao Yao could not help but tremble. At the same time, Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, Yang Qi, Fanning Xiong, and the others' bodies shook violently. The two peak celestial gods were easily slashed into pieces by the divine sword that had rushed out from Lin Tian's body. "Brother Lin actually has such a divine weapon?" Fanning Xiong's eyes widened. The divine sword's aura was too terrifying. At this time, his internal organs could not help but feel a chill run down their spines. Gurgle gurgle. The sound of flesh and blood wriggling could be heard. The broken flesh and bones of the two celestial gods from the chaotic clan merged together in the blink of an eye and reformed into a new body. At this time, they looked at Lin Tian again and looked at the seven-colored divine sword in Lin Tian's hand. Their eyes were filled with fear and they could not help but feel a chill run down their spines. As peak celestial gods, the two of them had only faced the impact of the sword radiance of the seven-colored divine sword once. They could deeply feel how terrifying the seven-colored divine sword was. It was born to destroy and could almost cut through everything. "Let's go!" One of them gritted his teeth and called out to the other. They immediately fled into the distance. At this time, they did not want to steal the sword anymore. This was because they knew very well that the divine sword was controlled by Lin Tian at this time. There was no way they could steal it. With two whooshing sounds, the two of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they were already far away. "You can't escape." Lin Tian smiled. The seven-colored divine sword in his hand trembled, and the seven-colored divine light rippled out like ripples in water. In the blink of an eye, it had covered an endless distance. With a bang, the two celestial gods from the chaotic clan were forcefully knocked back. A majestic divine power fell around them and immediately restrained the two of them. The two chaotic clan powerhouses struggled with all their might. Their peak celestial god divine power surged wildly. However, it was useless. They could not break free from the divine power seals set by Lin Tian's seven-colored divine sword. "Damn it, let us go!" Chapter 1825. The two peak heavenly god-tier powerhouses from the chaotic tribe were terrified. They were completely restrained and could not break free at all. "Let us go!" The two of them shouted at Lin Tian. Lin Tian did not say anything to them. After suppressing them with the power of the rainbow divine sword, he sent his divine thought origin into one of them's consciousness. Previously, the two of them had mentioned that the 10 divine princes from the chaotic tribe were about to descend. They were the most likely to obtain the world seed at the end of the ancient road. He wanted to know more about the so-called 10 divine princes from the chaotic tribe. At least, he wanted to know how strong the 10 of them were. In the blink of an eye, 10 breaths had passed. He withdrew his divine thought and frowned. "What's wrong? What did you find?" Whooshing Crocodile asked. Bai Ziki and the others looked at him. "In about a day at most, the 10 strongest youths from the chaotic tribe will step onto this ancient road. Their cultivation base is either at the peak heavenly god tier or at the half-step divine king level. All of them have the ability to kill ordinary divine kings," Lin Tian said in a deep voice. "What?" Upon hearing this, White Tiger and the others were shocked. The higher one's cultivation base was, the harder it would be to kill a powerhouse of a higher cultivation base. Among the 10 divine princes from the chaotic tribe, there were some who were at the peak heavenly god tier who could kill ordinary divine kings. It was a little shocking. They are the killing weapons that the chaotic tribe has spent endless effort to cultivate. Their bloodline is shocking, and each of them has soaked in countless heavenly treasures that were nurtured in the chaotic tribe. They were even bestowed with god-tier chaotic king blood to forge their flesh and bones. Each of them is terrifying. Lin Tian Andao. These were the things he learned from the two peak heavenly god-tier powerhouses from the chaotic tribe. He was shocked. And Ai Yao looked at him, and at the rainbow divine sword in his hand. "Can you stop the divine king with this sword?" When she heard Lin Tian mention the 10 divine princes of the primal chaos tribe, she was naturally moved. Once those 10 terrifying characters really stepped into the path, they definitely wouldn't be able to stop them with their current strength. Perhaps even the current generation of higher-ups of the Lord Theological Seminary wouldn't be able to do so. Moreover, those higher-ups were also being held back by the other divine kings of the primal chaos tribe, so they wouldn't have the energy to come to this ancient path. At this time, she thought of the 7-colored divine sword in Lin Tian's hand. The sword's aura was too strong. She felt that with Lin Tian's cultivation, he might be able to fight against a God King expert if he controlled the 7-colored divine sword. "Sure." Lin Tian nodded, then said, "However, I can't control it as I wish now. I can only control it for about half an hour. After that, I don't know when I'll be able to summon it again. The seven-colored divine sword was extremely powerful. With his current cultivation as a mid-true god, he should be able to stop an ordinary divine king if he controlled this divine sword. However, he still couldn't summon the seven-colored divine sword at any time. At this time, he was only able to use it because he had just obtained a sword soul fragment. He knew very well that the chances of him being able to summon it again in the future were too small, so small that it was negligible. Moreover, even if he could summon it, the amount of divine power required to control it would be ridiculous. He wouldn't be able to hold it for long. He can't control it as he wishes? And Yao was surprised. He can't. Lin Tian shook his head. Wishing Crocodile added, basically, whether or not he can summon this divine sword completely depends on the sword's mood. It has nothing to do with him. And Yao was speechless. She didn't know what to say. They clearly had such a destructive killing weapon, but they couldn't control it as they wished. Then what should we do? If the 10 divine princes of the chaotic tribe really enter, we won't be able to fight them at all. White Tiger frowned and said, the 10 people who could even kill an ordinary divine king would enter the ancient road in about a day's time. The strongest among them, Lin Tian, was only a mid-true god. He was no match for them at all. The difference in cultivation was just too great. For a moment, the group fell into deep thought. The 10 divine princes of the chaotic tribe would soon enter the ancient road. Things would become very troublesome. Don't think about it. The 10 divine princes are not people that weak humans like you can fight against. There was a cold snort. Seeing Lin Tianyi and the others frown, the 2 chaotic tribe experts who were imprisoned thought that the group was afraid. One of them sneered and threatened. We'll give you a chance now. Let us go and hand over the divine sword. Perhaps we can secretly take you out of this ancient road and save your lives. Otherwise, all of you will die here. This is an extra kindness to you. Let us go now. Do you want to be buried on this ancient road? The other person said coldly. Bury your grandfather. You're asking for a beating. F***CK. Do you know that you're now prisoners? Wishing Crocodile, White Tiger, and Ling Yun immediately cursed. They punched and kicked the 2 chaotic tribe experts who were imprisoned by Lin Tian's rainbow divine sword. Damn it! How dare you! B*****. You! How dare you hit my face! The 2 chaotic tribe experts were shocked and angry. I'll beat the 2 of you to death! Wishing Crocodile slashed out with his claws. White Tiger and Ling Yun did not hold back either. They hit the 2 chaotic tribe experts in the face. The 2 chaos beings were strong, and their bodies were strong too. But now, they were restrained by the power of the Rainbow God's word. Their bodies were weakened, and soon, they were beaten black and blue by the man and the 2 beasts. Their faces were covered in blood. You! The 2 chaotic tribe experts were imprisoned and could not move. Their eyes were almost spitting out flames. You can still talk? Continue to beat them? White Tiger gritted his teeth. The group was worried about the arrival of the 10 divine princes who could kill ordinary supreme gods. However, the 2 chaotic tribe experts threatened them at this time. It was as if they were walking into a fire. Since when were they willing to be taken advantage of? At this time, the 2 chaotic tribe experts were imprisoned and could not fight back. Both of them were ready to die. Banging sounds could be heard continuously. In the blink of an eye, the 2 chaotic tribe experts were beaten until their faces were deformed. All right, stop fooling around. Lin Tian now. He stopped the man and the 2 beasts and took action right away. Using his powerful divine thought and the power of the rainbow divine sword, he obliterated the 2's divine souls in an instant, leaving only their flesh shells. He handed them to the 5 elements Crocodile, Ling Yun, and the rest. With the 2 peak heavenly god tier powerhouses' bodies refined using the Saint Refining Precious technique, the 6 of them would be able to step into the true god realm in a short time. Chapter 1826. Lin Tian shook his head as he listened to Wishing Crocodile's words. The higher the cultivation base, the weaker the effect of using the Saint Refinement Treasure technique to refine the flesh shell of other living beings to strengthen oneself. In fact, after reaching the middle stage of True God, the efficiency of using this method to increase one's cultivation base is no longer effective. It's basically useless, he said. Whooshing Crocodile could not help but be stunned. Is there such a thing? Although it had learned the Saint Refinement Treasure technique, it had never thought about or studied this treasure technique, so it did not know about this. Of course. Lin Tian nodded and continued. All right, all of you refine these 2 flesh shells. Once you reach the True God level, you'll be able to deal with any ordinary chaotic tribe cultivators. As soon as he finished speaking, he scanned the surroundings with his powerful divine telekinesis, and quickly found a more secluded place for Baiziki and the rest to refine the 2 heavenly god-level flesh shells. He, Little Taichu, and Ni would protect Baiziki and the rest. Buzz. Baiziki and the rest began to perform the Saint Refinement Treasure technique. For a moment, 6 different lights intertwined in this place. After the 6 of them had reached the half-step True God realm, they had been walking on this ancient road for more than a year. In this 1 year, they had been comprehending the divine Tao law all the time. They had already gained a very deep understanding of the divine Tao that corresponded to their respective immortal Taos. There was already a faint divine Tao aura intertwining in their bodies. Now, they were only lacking a huge amount of pure energy to break through to the True God realm. The flesh and blood essence of these 2 peak heavenly God-tier powerhouses, after being refined with the Saint Refining Treasure technique, was enough to provide them with a huge amount of energy to break through to the True God realm. The 4 people and 2 beasts refined the 2 heavenly God flesh shells together. Their aura continued to increase and their cultivation base slowly became stronger. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. 7 days later, 6 powerful True God auras surged out continuously. The 4 people and 2 beasts had broken through to the True God level one after another. Lord Crocodile is also in the True God level. Whooshing Crocodile could not help but howl excitedly. From the Immortal King realm to the True Divinity realm, this was a huge qualitative change. Now that it had completed this qualitative change, one could clearly sense that its strength had increased by countless times. Beside them, Fanning Xiong, Ling Yun, and the White Tiger were also excited. Baiziki and Yang Qi, on the other hand, had a gleam in their eyes. Consolidate my realm! Lin Tian now. Baiziki, Ling Yun, and the rest nodded and started to operate their ancient scriptures to consolidate their current real god cultivation. Just like that, another month passed in the blink of an eye. A month later, on this day, the 6 of them stood up one after another, stabilizing their current cultivation base. The True God aura they exuded stabilized. Let's go. Seeing that everyone's cultivation had completely stabilized, Lin Tian called for them to leave this place. Speaking of which, it has been more than a month. The 10 deities of the primal chaos race should be on this ancient road. I wonder where they are now, White Tiger said. I don't know where they are now, but they must be heading towards the depths of this ancient road because the world seed is there, Lin Tian now said. We don't have to worry about anything now. Let's go straight to the depths. He had promised Guqing that he would do his best to stop the primal chaos race and prevent them from snatching the world seed at the end of the ancient road. Therefore, he had to do his best. Even if the 10 deities of this bloodline were terrifying, he had to stop them. Now, the experts of the primal chaos race were at various positions on the ancient road. Their numbers were limited, so they could not go to every position to ambush them. Moreover, the 10 deities of the primal chaos race and the other peak divine realm experts of the primal chaos race were not a match for them. Now, there was only one choice, which was to go straight to the end of the ancient road. When he got there, he could either go and get the world seed himself, or he could engrave endless killing formations outside the special space where the world seed was. Then, he could wait for the experts of the primal chaos race to come and kill them with the killing formations. As he thought about it, he could not help but frown as there were many uncertainties. Firstly, he might not be able to obtain the world seed. Secondly, with his current cultivation, The most powerful killing formation that he could inscribe could only kill an ordinary peak divine realm expert. It was impossible for him to deal with the 10 divine princes of the chaotic tribe. Forget it, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. In the end, he said to himself in his heart. He stopped thinking about it, and rushed to the end of the ancient road at an extremely fast speed. At this time, they were already at the second half of the ancient road. They were about half a year away from the end of the ancient road. Whoosh! 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 The sound of air being torn apart could be heard one after another. The group of people were flying at an extremely fast speed, almost shattering the void as they flew. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 months had passed. Over 2 months later, on this day, this ancient road suddenly trembled violently. A wave of divine might that overflowed into the sky surged out, as if a terrifying, ferocious beast had awakened. That aura was extremely shocking, causing the group to tremble. The aura of an emperor god! Lin Tian was shocked. He looked at the ancient road behind him. An emperor god had entered the ancient road? Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, Fanning Xiong, and the others naturally felt the aura, and all of them were shocked. At this time, there was another loud rumble. Another emperor god aura appeared, causing the ancient road to shake violently again. You old fart, didn't you snatch the world seed and can't take it away? Why are you here? A voice was heard. Lin Tian's expression changed when he heard this voice. The voice was too familiar. Wasn't it the voice of the heartless old gangster? That old fart came here? It's that old fart, the white tiger said. He also recognized the owner of the voice and could not help but stare. Boom! 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 Astonishing god emperor auras interweaved and surged continuously. The old hoodlum seemed to be fighting with another god emperor. Terrifying god emperor auras surged, as if they were going to shatter this ancient road. Even though the group was very far away, they were still trembling slightly from the auras. However, the 2 emperor god auras intertwined in a fixed area behind them, and did not surge to this place. It seems that the other emperor god is being held back by that old fart. He can't get away now. Whooshing Crocodile looked in that direction. It had seen the old gangster before, so it could recognize the old gangster's voice. Then, who is the other emperor god? Lin Tian looked at the back of the ancient road. Strands of dragon light intertwined in his eyes as he sensed a fluctuation in the space. If I'm not wrong, it should be the King of Chaos, he said. Chapter 1827. The 2 emperor gods' auras surged violently on the ancient road. The entire ancient road seemed to be on the verge of shattering. Lin Tian and the others were surprised. They did not expect the 2 emperor gods, the old hooligan and the King of Chaos, to be here. The group stood there and sensed the collision of the emperor gods' auras from afar. Then, after 10 breaths, the 2 emperor gods' auras began to fade away. The ancient road became stable again in the blink of an eye. It seems that they have fought their way out of this ancient road, Whooshing Crocodile said. Lin Tian nodded. He looked at the back of the ancient road for another 10 breaths. Then, he beckoned the group to continue deeper. He had accepted Guqin's request. Now, the most important thing was to reach the end of the ancient road. He had to either get the world seed himself or stop the chaotic tribe from getting it. They maintained their speed. Soon, another month had passed. On this day, a tall man appeared behind them. He walked over from afar. His eyes were deep and indifferent. Humans! The man spoke. His voice was indifferent. The space around Lin Tian and the others trembled slightly. Ripples of intertwined killing auras appeared and pressed down on the group mercilessly. Lin Tian's expression changed. Golden light intertwined on the surface of his body. He beckoned the group to dodge. They all moved dozens of feet away. You can dodge? You're slightly stronger than an ant. Seeing Lin Tian and the others dodge his killing aura, the tall man was slightly surprised. His voice was still indifferent. It was as if a god emperor was giving advice. Lin Tian looked at the man and his eyes narrowed. The blaze of chaos. You know about it? The tall man's gaze fell on Lin Tian. His expression was still indifferent. He guessed something. You've heard about it from the other clansmen? Bai Ziki and the others were on guard against the tall man while looking at Lin Tian. Wishing Crocodile frowned and said, This blaze of chaos, could it be? It was a young man, but the aura he exuded was very terrifying. He was at the peak of the heavenly god realm. And when Lin Tian called out this person's name, the group vaguely guessed this person's identity. He should be one of the 10 deities of the Primal Chaos clan. One of the 10 Shensis of the Primal Chaos race. Lin Tian now. From the Primal Chaos tribe expert's Sea of Consciousness, he found out that the 10 strongest youths of the Primal Chaos tribe had arrived. Naturally, he also found out their names. All 10 of them were given the surname Primal Chaos by the King of Chaos. They were Primal Chaos Na, Primal Chaos G, Primal Chaos E, Primal Chaos U, Primal Chaos Wei, Primal Chaos End, Primal Chaos Truth, Primal Chaos Z, Primal Chaos Tin, and Primal Chaos Chi. Of course, while knowing the names of these 10 people, he also searched for their appearances. Therefore, he recognized Hun Dunchi as soon as he appeared. As expected, Wishing Crocodile looked at Hun Dunchi with a solemn expression. This person was indeed one of the 10 chaotic divine children. At the same time, Bai Ziki and the others looked at this person in front of them with a solemn expression. They felt a great pressure. Lin Tian looked at this person and could not help but frown. He did not expect to meet one of the 10 people so soon. While he was looking at this person, the other person was also looking at them. Although our goal is the world seed, we will kill all humans we see along the way. His voice was still indifferent. He waved his hand casually and a large amount of killing light directly pressed down on Lin Tian and the others. The killing light was intertwined with a shocking chaotic aura. It was completely different from the chaotic aura of other ordinary chaotic tribe cultivators. It was very similar to the aura of M.O. Byron's chaotic body. Although it was far less dense than M.O. Byron's primitive chaotic aura, it was still very terrifying. It was so heavy that it was frightening. It was as if it could annihilate everything. Lin Tian felt a great pressure, but he was not afraid. He immediately held up the Divine Tao Monarch's Domain reincarnation diagram and faced it head-on. This was a peak heavenly god realm cultivator who had the ability to kill ordinary divine kings. He could not afford to be careless. He attacked with all his strength from the beginning. Boom! The Divine Tao reincarnation diagram rumbled as it interweaved with the aura of the Divine Tao, completely enveloping the surrounding space as it charged towards the blaze of chaos. At the same time, Bai Ziki and the others made their moves. Bai Ziki propped up the Divine Roar Temple, Fan Ningxiong propped up the Immortal Cracking Mountain, Little Taishu propped up the protection of the Four Spirits, and Nympho, Yangqi, and the others also used all their strength to attack the primordial blaze. That was because they all knew that the person before them possessed the battle prowess to kill ordinary god kings, so they couldn't hide their strength. The group of people took action at the same time. Heaven overflowing divine might surged, extremely horrifying. They could definitely easily kill ordinary heavenly deities. Chi! With a soft sound, the divine light from the chaotic blaze was shattered. After all, it was just a casual attack from the other party. After that, the offensive divine power unleashed by Lin Tian and the others continued to press down on the chaotic blaze without slowing down. Thunder God Body, Barbarian King Body. A faint light intertwined in the chaotic blaze's eyes. He was slightly moved by Bai Ziki's Thunder God Body and Fan Ningxiong's Barbarian King Body. After all, king bodies were rare. At the same time, he was also slightly moved by the divine might of Yangqi and the others because they were all very strong. Especially when he saw Lin Tian's Divine Tao reincarnation diagram, he narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Lin Tian. You're not bad. You're all not bad. You're worth killing. With that, with a boom, a vast chaotic light rushed out of his body. With a sizzling sound, it shattered Lin Tian's Divine Tao reincarnation diagram and the divine abilities and secret techniques unleashed by Ling Yun and the others. It also forced the group of people to retreat. We're in trouble, Wishing Crocodile said. Just the aura alone was enough to shatter their divine abilities and force them all back. This kind of power was too terrifying. This is equivalent to facing someone who is slightly stronger than ordinary god kings. This is a disaster. White Tiger gritted his teeth. Retreat, Lin Tian said in a low voice. It was only this one word, and the group of people fled. Being able to kill an ordinary early divine king, this primal chaos chi was indeed terrifying. He was definitely not someone they could contend against. The difference in cultivation was too great. If they fought him head-on, they would definitely be annihilated. Retreating was the wisest choice. Bai Ziki and the others nodded. Immediately, the group of people turned into a beam of light and flew into the distance. The chaotic Blaze's eyes were indifferent, and his expression was also indifferent. He took a casual step forward and caught up with the group of people in the blink of an eye. Buzz! A chaotic light seal appeared above his head. It was completely formed by the aura of chaos, causing the surrounding space to tremble and distort. It mercilessly pressed down on Lin Tianyi and the others, and at the same time sealed the space around them. Lin Tian's expression became extremely serious. At this time, there was no way to avoid it. The Divine Tao reincarnation diagram was raised again to meet the opponent. Chapter 1828. In the face of Hun Dunqi, who could kill an ordinary godly king, Lin Tian and the rest did not hold back at all. All of them used their full strength. With a rumble, the surging divine power collided with Hun Dunqi's chaotic light seal. Then, there was a sizzling sound one after another. The divine powers and secret skills that the group had used all their strength were all shattered. Moreover, the chaotic light seal did not shatter just like that. Although its power was much weaker, it still continued to press down. Bang! 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 Everyone, including Lin Tian, was pushed back by the impact. Their faces turned pale. In terms of numbers, the human race is the first in the world. However, in terms of strength, you humans are the weakest. You can't even withstand a single blow. Hun Dunqi looked at Lin Tian now. His voice was very indifferent. There was no arrogance on his face, but it made people feel even more uncomfortable. That was because that indifference was a complete disdain for the human race. F***ck off. Why are you so arrogant? The human king is a human. He can destroy the entire chaotic tribe with a flick of his finger. The king of your tribe is nothing in front of him. Now you, a heavenly god, dare to look down on the human race. Ling Yun was very unhappy. Before Lin Tian could speak, he cursed. Hun Dunqi glanced at Ling Yun. You know quite a lot. You even know about such an ancient existence. As he said that, his expression was still indifferent. The human king is very powerful. However, he has cultivated for countless years. As long as I have time, it's only a matter of time before I surpass him. Lin Tian was stunned when he heard that. Since he started cultivating until now, he has seen many arrogant people. All of them had arrogant attitudes, looking down at the world with disdain. But now, Hun Qi didn't have such an attitude. However, he felt that Hun Qi was the most arrogant person he has ever seen. The White Tiger opened his mouth and said, All right, you're good. I really don't know where you get the courage to say such words. You're so childish. How did you cultivate to the heavenly god realm? Anayani said. She had reincarnated from a very ancient era until now. Although she had never seen a mortal king with her own eyes, she was very clear on how frightening a mortal king was. Since ancient times, no matter how heaven-defying a king physique was, how exceptional a bloodline was, or how shocking a talent was, no one dared to say that they could surpass a mortal king. Saying such words would only make people laugh at their ignorance and stupidity. I can believe Miss Wee's words, but who do you think you are? You dare to say that you have surpassed the human sovereign stage? There's something wrong with his head. Wishing Crocodile curled its lips. The group of people looked at Hun Dunqi. They were all injured, but their expressions were full of mockery. For the first time, Hun Dunqi's expression turned cold. A group of humans and demons who were far weaker than him dared to refute him and look at him with mocking eyes. This made his eyes turn cold. An ant should act like an ant, he said coldly. With a hong sound, an even more terrifying aura surged. Peak heavenly deity might surged, suppressing all directions. He stepped forward, raised his hand directly, and formed the chaotic divine palm, slapping toward Lin Tian and the others. The power of this palm was even more frightening than the chaotic light seal just now. Facing this palm, Lin Tian and the others felt their hearts sink. Use your full strength, Lin Tian said in a low voice. Hun Dunshi was indeed very frightening. His battle strength was too strong. A casual strike was enough to make them feel extremely pressured, let alone now that he was using a divine ability to suppress them. With a hong sound, he once again supported the divine path reincarnation diagram. At the same time, he displayed the 5 heavenly lightning divine technique and the other precious techniques one after another. He also took out a true god-level precious weapon. Beside him, Baiziki and the others did not hold back either. They all took out their strongest divine techniques and true god-level precious weapons. These true god-level weapons were obtained by Lin Tian in a heavenly god-level ancient tomb. Everyone in the group was given one. With a rumble, the group attacked with all their might. The aura was extremely terrifying, and the surrounding void was directly shattered and annihilated. However, Hun Dunqi's chaotic divine palm was too powerful. In the blink of an eye, it shattered all the divine techniques of the group. The vigorous palm continued to press down and landed on the group. In an instant, the group was sent flying at the same time. All of them were severely injured, and blood flowed out of their bodies. As ants, you are able to withstand my attacks for so long. I should praise you. You are really not bad. Hun Dunqi's eyes were cold. He attacked again, and another chaotic divine palm pressed down. With a rumble, the chaotic divine palm this time was dozens of times stronger than before. It directly suppressed the surroundings. Just the aura alone was enough to shake the group to the point that they coughed up blood. Their faces became extremely pale, and it was even difficult for them to move. Damn it! It's over? The wishing crocodile was shocked and furious. At this moment, it was suppressed by Hun Dunqi's aura. It could not even struggle. It could only watch as Hun Dunqi's chaotic divine palm pressed down. At this moment, if they were to take this attack head-on, they would not have any chance of survival. Baiziki and the others did not look good. They struggled with all their might, but they could not break free from Hun Dunqi's suppression. Lin Tian was also suppressed. However, compared to Baiziki and the others, he was still much stronger. After a short period of suppression, he broke free with his powerful divine power. He directly rushed to the sky and faced the chaotic divine palm with the chaotic emperor fist. Boy, dodge! Don't take it head-on! You will die! Wishing Crocodile said anxiously. Get out of the way! Ling Yun also shouted. Lin Tian's body was full of golden divine light. The chaotic emperor fist became stronger. The divine path reincarnation diagram also surged out, erupting with an even stronger aura. At this moment, if he wanted to dodge, he could naturally do so. However, how could he? If he dodged, the chaotic divine palm pressed down by Hun Dunqi would directly fall on Ling Yun and the others. In their current state, they would not be able to block it. He circulated the Sun Heart Sutra faster, and his aura became stronger. In the next moment, it collided with the chaotic divine palm. The divine path reincarnation diagram and the chaotic emperor fist that he had summoned were shattered on the spot. Then, the chaotic divine palm fell on Lin Tian's body. With a poof, his physical body was smashed into pieces. Blood, flesh, and broken bones flew all over the sky. However, the chaotic divine palm also dissipated. Boy! The power of the chaotic divine palm dissipated. Ling Yun and the others could move again. Seeing Lin Tian's physical body being smashed into pieces, they were all anxious. However, in the next moment, they were more or less relieved. In the void, broken flesh and broken bones gathered together. Lin Tian's physical body was reformed in the blink of an eye. You are tough. I will kill you first. Chapter 1829. The chaotic divine sword's aura was earth-shattering. Its divine might was oppressive as it slammed down. Little Taishu flapped its bright and clean wings and rushed forward. Bai Ziki and the others also rushed forward, wanting to help Lin Tian block the sword. However, their speed was far slower than the sword and they could not make it in time. Clang! The sword chimed. In the blink of an eye, the chaotic divine sword pressed down on Lin Tian's head. Lin Tian's aura was already very weak at this time. His face was very pale. However, there was still divine power in his body. He immediately held up the divine path reincarnation diagram and faced the attack. Boom! The divine path reincarnation diagram's aura was terrifying. It intertwined with divine light in all directions and faced the chaotic divine sword that was slashing down by chaotic blaze. With a loud boom, the two collided. The divine path reincarnation diagram that Lin Tian held up was instantly crushed. Then, the chaotic divine sword slashed out by chaotic blaze landed directly on his body, causing his body to explode again. Blood floated in the air. There were pieces of flesh and bones everywhere. They wriggled quickly. Soon, Lin Tian reformed his body. Blood gushed out of his mouth as he gasped for breath. He had forcefully endured several fierce attacks from chaotic blaze. His current situation was extremely bad. He was completely on the verge of death. Chaotic blaze's eyes narrowed. A person in the middle stage of the true God realm had withstood several of his attacks consecutively. This was the first time he had met such a person. Interesting. You're more resilient than I thought. Then, let's see if you can survive another attack. Looking at Lin Tian, he had a condescending attitude. Chaotic light surged behind him and another chaotic divine sword appeared. It was even stronger than the previous one. Clang! He flicked his finger, and the sword directly pressed down on Lin Tian. The sharp sword aura immediately shattered the void in all directions. It pressed down on Lin Tian's head with a divine power that could destroy everything. Facing the sword, Lin Tian gritted his teeth. Although he knew that he could not block it, he still held up the reincarnation diagram. Only, the reincarnation diagram he propped up was shattered in the blink of an eye, unable to stop it at all. The momentum of the chaotic divine sword did not change at all. It even completely sealed the space around him, not giving him any chance to dodge. The mighty power of destruction pressed down on his head. It was also at this time that the little Taichu approached at the fastest speed. Seeing Lin Tian's weak appearance at this time, its big eyes were filled with anxiety and anger. All the hair on its body stood on end, and the six-colored divine radiance suddenly surged. In the next moment, a world of light emerged from its body. Inside it, immortal mountains and divine mountains were connected to each other, and divine rivers were connected to each other. Every inch of space was filled with extremely dense immortal radiance, and its aura was extremely vast. The Chaos Divine Sword slashed down and fell into the light world, disappearing without a trace in an instant. This is... Lin Tian was visibly moved. At the same time, Wishing Crocodile, Ling Yun, and the others were also shocked. It's that! Wishing Crocodile's eyes widened. This light world was obviously the broken primordial immortal world that the primordial immortal emperor had put into the little guy's body back then. It did not expect the little guy to call out this great world from his body at this time. Even the little Taichu was a little surprised. It looked up at the primordial immortal world that had appeared from its body. Just now, when it saw that Lin Tian was severely injured and in extreme danger, it was very angry and activated the divine power in its body. Then, the primordial immortal world appeared. It did not propel it up on its own. It did not have the ability to do so now, just like the rainbow divine sword in Lin Tian's body. Looking at the primordial immortal world propped up by the little Taichu, Hun Hunchi's eyes moved slightly. He snorted coldly and formed the Chaos Divine Sword again. This time, the sword was 10 times stronger than the previous one, and it slashed down mercilessly. However, this time, just like before, when the sword fell into the primordial immortal world, it was immediately disintegrated. Lin Tian's eyes flashed. He said to the little Taichu, "Little guy, take him in!" As little Primal held up the primordial immortal world, and as Primal Chaos Blaze's 2 consecutive attacks were easily neutralized, he immediately thought of many things. Although Primal Chaos Blaze was very powerful, and his battle prowess was unparalleled, he was still only at the heavenly god realm. However, the little fellow was holding up a true great world that was not any weaker than the immortal region. It was not something that was formed from divine power, and such a true great world contained boundless divine might. It was definitely not something a mere heavenly god realm cultivator could contend against. With the primordial immortal world propped up by the little guy as a killing weapon, they could definitely turn the tide of this battle. Hearing Lin Tian's words, the little Taichu immediately nodded. With a flap of its wings, it directly controlled the propped-up primordial immortal world and turned into a ray of 6-colored divine light. It flew toward Hun Chi, pressing down on him with the propped-up primordial immortal world. "Very unusual, but no big deal." Hun Chi's voice was cold. "I'll end you with one blow." As soon as he finished speaking, a divine sword covered in ancient runes rushed out of his body with a boom. It was a heavenly god weapon. Holding this heavenly god weapon divine sword, he was surrounded by vast and mighty chaotic light and chaotic flames. He held the divine sword and slashed at the little Taichu. Ka! The surrounding void was instantly annihilated. This terrifying sword was enough to kill an ordinary early-stage divine king. It seemed like everything would be destroyed by this attack. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of the little Taichu. Its power was terrifying. However, in the next moment, when this sword collided with the primordial immortal world, all the divine power on it was instantly annihilated. For the first time, Hun Chi was truly moved. His face turned cold as he held the heavenly god weapon divine sword and quickly retreated. However, at this moment, purple lightning flashed in the sky, and a purple sea of lightning appeared. Lin Tian held up the 5 thunder divine territory, a domain-type divine power, and instantly appeared behind the retreating Hun Chi. "Get in!" he said coldly. He raised his hand and threw out a Chaos Emperor punch with all the divine power he had left. With a boom, he jumped and moved with the 5 thunder divine territories domain-type divine power, and then threw out this punch. The punch was naturally very fast. Hun Chi, who was retreating, had no time to dodge or even turn around. The punch landed directly on his back. Bam! With a muffled sound, Hun Chi was sent flying and fell directly into the primordial immortal world that little Taichu was holding up. After landing in the primordial immortal empire, Hun Chi raised his head to look at Lin Tian. His expression was extremely cold. He was a peak heavenly god who could kill ordinary early-stage god kings, but now, he was struck by a mid-stage true god human. To him, this was a humiliation. Looking at Lin Tian, his voice was extremely cold, and his eyes were filled with bone-chilling murderous intent. "Lowly human! Kill!" As he spoke, his words suddenly stopped, and his expression changed drastically. "What's going on?" Chapter 1830. Falling into the primordial immortal empire, Hun Chi's expression changed completely. He could not use the divine power in his body, and the heavenly god-tier divine sword in his hand dimmed to its lowest point. It was as if it had turned into an ordinary sword. Damn it! He was not an ordinary person. He glanced at the immortal god world and instantly guessed that this had something to do with the primordial immortal empire. He leaped up. Even though he could not use his divine power, he leaped high into the air with pure physical strength. In the blink of an eye, he was at the edge of the primordial immortal empire's light barrier that was held up by little Taichu. He stepped out with one foot. However, at this moment, Lin Tian stepped forward and appeared in front of him. "You still want to escape?" With a cold smile, Lin Tian slapped Hun Chi. Slap! The slap landed firmly on Hun Chi's face, and he fell into the primordial immortal empire again, leaving 5 bloody fingerprints on his face. "Human!" Hun Chi fell to the ground, his eyes filled with bone-chilling coldness. He was slapped by someone weaker than him. Lin Tian stood in the void and sneered. He then said to little Taichu, "Little guy, control the primordial immortal empire. Don't freeze my divine power later." He could clearly sense that Hun Dunqi's divine power had completely disappeared. He naturally knew the reason. It was suppressed by the primordial immortal empire. "Ya!" Little Taichu called out in a childish voice. Lin Tian stepped forward and entered the primordial immortal empire. Because of little Taichu's control, his divine power was still there. Although it was very weak, it was still there. He stepped in front of Hun Dunqi and slapped him again. Slap! The slap was loud and clear. Hun Dunqi was directly hit, and he was sent flying dozens of feet away in the primordial immortal empire. Hun Dunqi was furious. "You, swoosh!" The sound of the air breaking rang out. Lin Tian stepped forward, his speed extremely fast. He appeared in front of Hun Dunqi in the blink of an eye, and slapped him again. With a smack, Hun Dunqi was slapped for the third time. He spat out a mouthful of blood and a tooth fell out of his mouth. Wishing Crocodile, Ling Yun, and the others couldn't help but stare at this scene. In the next moment, Wishing Crocodile laughed loudly. He naturally guessed that the powerful primordial chaos blaze's sudden fall into such a state had something to do with little Taichu's primordial immortal empire. "Little guy, don't suppress Lord Crocodile," Wishing Crocodile said and stepped into the primordial immortal empire. Like Lin Tian, he was unaffected. He immediately came to Hun Dunqi, who had just stabilized himself after being sent flying by Lin Tian. He laughed wildly and said, "Little Qi, every dog has its day. Come, come, come. Let's not talk too much. Let's eat your Grandpa Crocodile's claw first." It was merciless. Just like Lin Tian, it slapped Hun Dunqi's cheek. Hun Dunqi was very powerful and could kill an ordinary god king. However, his divine power was now suppressed by the primordial immortal empire. His reaction speed was greatly reduced. He couldn't avoid Wishing Crocodile's attack at all. Smack! With a muffled sound, Hun Dunqi was sent flying again. His teeth mixed with blood fell out again. Outside the primordial immortal empire, Ling Yun glared. Then, he clenched his fist and stepped into the primordial immortal empire propped up by little Taichu. He went directly to Hun Dunqi, who hadn't stabilized himself. "Little Qi, eat your Grandpa Ling's ultimate kick." His foot landed directly on Hun Dunqi's crotch. With a bang, Hun Dunqi's entire face was distorted. "Little pervert, you're ruthless." White Tiger laughed and stepped into the primordial immortal empire. He copied Ling Yun's action and kicked Hun Dunqi's crotch. Then Bai Ziki, Fanning Xiong, and the rest stepped into the primordial immortal empire one after another. They surrounded Hun Dunqi and beat him up violently. In the end, even little Taichu entered the primordial immortal empire itself. Its little claws hit Hun Dunqi's face with all its might. Hun Dunqi was infuriated to the extreme. Being beaten by a group of people and spirit creatures who were weaker than him, his face was twisted to the extreme. He was no longer as indifferent and cold as he was at the beginning. His face turned ferocious. "Damn it! You!" Bang! Lin Tian lifted his leg and kicked him hard in the chest, interrupting his words. At the side, Ling Yun and the rest didn't stop. They continued to attack with all their might. "Weren't you very arrogant just now? Weren't you very powerful? Come, come, Grandpa Ling will let you fight with both hands. Then, eat your Grandpa Ling's ultimate kick. Didn't you say you were going to surpass the human king? How did you end up like this? This is too outrageous. I'll beat you until you can't even recognize your own mother." A group of people surrounded Hun Dunqi. They didn't kill him. Instead, they beat him up with all their might. In the blink of an eye, Hun Dunqi's face was bruised and swollen. All his teeth were broken, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Boom! 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 Suddenly, thousands of waves of divine power appeared in the distant sky. They were all very powerful and were rapidly approaching this place. In the next moment, thousands of figures crossed this place in the blink of an eye. All of them were surrounded by chaotic energy. 9 young men led the group. Among the 9, 5 were peak heavenly gods, and 4 were half-step divine kings. Their auras were very frightening. Chi deity. How is this possible? When they arrived at this place, the thousands of people naturally saw Han Dun Chi being beaten up by Lin Tianyi, and the rest in the primordial immortal empire. Other than the 9 young men in the lead, the rest of the chaotic tribe cultivators were shocked and in disbelief. At the same time, Lin Tianyi and the rest naturally saw the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators. They couldn't help but stop beating Han Dun Chi. Lin Tian's eyes narrowed slightly. The 10 chaotic deities are all here. He glanced at Han Dun Chi and his gaze fell on the 9 young men in front of the thousands of people. He smiled coldly. Wuxing Crocodile and the rest naturally noticed the 9 people. After all, their auras were very different from the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators. White Tiger vaguely guessed the 9 people's identities. He asked Lin Tian now, "Are they the other 9 deities of the chaotic tribe?" "Yes." Lin Tian nodded. Bai Ziki glanced at the 9 young men and said in a low voice, "They're all very strong. Even stronger than Han Dun Chi. That's because Han Dun Chi is ranked last among the 10 deities of the tribe." Lin Tian now. As he said this, he looked at the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators and couldn't help but frown. He remembered that there were only about 10,000 chaotic tribe cultivators who had entered this ancient road. Now, thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators had appeared in this place, and they were led by the 9 deities of the chaotic tribe. This indirectly reflected the situation, which was that most of the other Emperor's Academy disciples who had stepped onto this ancient road had probably been wiped out. Outside the primordial immortal empire, among the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators, the 9 young men in the lead were indeed the other 9 deities of the chaotic tribe. At this moment, their eyes narrowed slightly when they saw Han Dun Chi in the primordial immortal empire. Previously, Han Dun Chi was the first to step out of the chaotic world and onto this ancient road. For some reason, the 9 of them entered later. At this time, they had cleared all the human tribe cultivators and other obstacles in the first half of the ancient road and led thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators deeper into the ancient road. They didn't expect to see this scene in this place. "Have you seen enough? Help!" Chapter 1831. The 10 divine princes of the chaotic tribe were the strongest of the younger generation. Han Chi was trapped in the primordial immortal empire, and the other 9 divine princes were watching. After Han Chi spoke, one of them immediately attacked, throwing out a ray of chaotic light. Clang! The chaotic light vibrated, turning into an extremely sharp sword aura. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of the primordial immortal empire. The sword was extremely terrifying, and it was intertwined with an extremely terrifying murderous aura. However, when it landed in the primordial immortal empire, it was completely useless. In the blink of an eye, it was devoured by the primordial immortal empire, turning into streaks of light and disappearing without a trace. This, a divine prince's attack, how is this possible? The group of chaotic tribe cultivators was shocked. The one who attacked was Han Chi, a half-step divine king. He was the first divine prince of the chaotic tribe, and that sword could definitely kill an early-stage divine king. However, when it entered the primordial immortal empire, it disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Beside him, Han Chi, Han Yi, Han Chi, Han Wei, Han Chi, Han Di, Han Zi, and Han Chi could not help but frown. They stared at the primordial immortal empire held up by the little Tai Chu, and a strange light flashed in their eyes. This is the divine prince of the chaotic tribe? One of the 10 strongest of the younger generation? How weak! In the primordial immortal empire, the white tiger spoke. Naturally, he could tell that the attacker was one of the 10 divine princes of the chaotic tribe. Knowing that the little guy could hold up the primordial immortal empire, he did not care at all. "What did you say?" Outside the primordial immortal empire, the chaotic tribe cultivators stared coldly at the white tiger. I said that your divine prince is weak, very weak, very weak. So what? If you don't like it, come bite me. The white tiger extended one of its claws and hooked its claws at the group of chaotic tribe cultivators. The group of primal chaos tribe cultivators were naturally enraged, but they were not stupid. It was obvious that their chief Shensi was trapped because of the primordial immortal world that enveloped the white tiger, Lin Tian, and the others. Moreover, their first Shensi's powerful attack that could kill an early-stage divine king was also annihilated by the primordial immortal world. Why would they foolishly charge in? How cowardly! No one dares to come here. The white tiger was filled with disdain. Lin Tian glanced at it before turning to little Taichu and asking, "Little guy, can you manipulate the primordial immortal empire's attacks?" Little rascal blinked its large eyes and gave it a try. Then, it shook its head. Right now, the primordial immortal empire was not supported by itself. Being able to use it to defend and suppress others was already its limit. It could not be used to attack. "Human, let him go." At this moment, an indifferent voice rang out. At the front of the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators, Hun Dun spoke up and ordered Lin Tianyi and the others to release Hun Dun Shi from the primordial immortal world. "Is that possible?" Lin Tian looked at this person. These chaotic tribe cultivators had jumped from the chaotic world to this ancient road and massacred wantonly. Now, they were actually asking them to release Hun Dun Shi, who was suppressed by them. What a joke! Let him go and send him out. Otherwise, what awaits you will be eternal torture and a hell worse than death, Hun Dun Dun said. When he said this, there was no coldness in his eyes. He was very calm and full of disdain for Lin Tianyi and the others from the bottom of his heart. This attitude naturally made Lin Tian very uncomfortable. Therefore, he waved his hand and Hun Dun Chi's divine weapon level divine sword appeared in his hand. In front of Hun Dun Dun Dun, he slashed down with the sword and cut off Hun Dun Chi's left arm. With a puff, blood splattered in all directions. Hun Dun Chi let out a muffled groan. Because his divine power was frozen and his cultivation was suppressed to zero, he couldn't regenerate his arm at this time. Blood flowed continuously from the cut of his arm and dyed the ground red in the blink of an eye. "Damn human! How dare you do this? You're courting death!" Outside the primordial immortal empire, a group of chaotic tribe cultivators were shocked and furious. They had slaughtered their way into the ancient road from the primal chaos world, and in the past year or so, they had killed many human cultivators with ease. But now, a human cultivator, a true divinity human cultivator, had cut off the arm of their clan's blazing Shensi. This infuriated them, and their faces were filled with killing intent. Hun Dun 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 Nai and the other 8 Shensi of the chaotic tribe naturally darkened their faces. Hun Dun Nai looked at Lin Tian and said coldly, "Do you know the consequences of hurting my people?" "I don't know what the consequences will be. I only know what the situation is now. Now, there's nothing you can do except glare at me." Lin Tian andao. As he said this, he raised his sword and cut off Hun Dun Chi's other arm. More blood splattered. At this moment, the chaotic tribe cultivators were even more shocked and furious. Hun Dun Nai's eyes became a little threatening. "The light barrier you've propped up is extraordinary, but it can only defend and not attack. Moreover, how long can you hold it up? When you can't hold it up anymore, what awaits you will be endless torture." "So what?" Lin Tianling said. As he said this, he cut off Hun Dun Chi's left leg with another slash. At this time, the little guy couldn't hold up the entire primordial immortal world. The part that he could hold up could only occupy about 100 feet of space. Even so, this greatly depleted the little guy's divine power. Of course, he couldn't hold it up forever. He had already sensed this. And once the little guy couldn't hold up the primordial immortal world anymore, the outcome would be huge trouble for them. However, even so, they couldn't give in to the other party. This undoubtedly made Hun Dun Nai and the others' faces turn even colder. However, they couldn't do anything at this time because the primordial immortal world propped up by little Taichu was too powerful for them to break through. "Human!" In the primordial immortal world, only Hun Dunqi's right leg was left. His face was ferocious and cold as he stared at Lin Tian. How dare you look so ferocious when you're a prisoner? You don't have any awareness of being a prisoner. You're asking for a beating. Lin Tian raised his hand and cut off the last leg of Hun Dunqi. He looked at Hun Dunqi and the divine sword that belonged to Hun Dunqi intertwined with cold light. He paused and suddenly narrowed his eyes. Then, he thought of something. Then, he raised his hand and intertwined with golden divine light to envelop Hun Dunqi. As one of the top 10 strongest of the younger generation of the chaotic tribe, you've even been bestowed with the blood of a chaotic king to refine your body. You should be quite rich, right? He sneered. His divine power surged, along with the power of his divine consciousness, forcibly entering Hun Dunqi's body and consciousness. Soon, he forcibly extracted a large pile of treasures, all of which were intertwined with divine light. This is... I poke. As expected of one of the top 10 strongest of the younger generation of the chaotic tribe. These treasures are really... I'm rich! Chapter 1832. Lin Tian forcibly pulled out too many treasures from Hun Dunqi's body. They were piled up into a small mountain. None of them were ordinary, and each of them was shockingly valuable. Bone Emperor Silk, a super sacred material for forging godly king weapons. In crystal, a divine item for cleansing the marrow of the bright spirit. It's also an extremely precious divine item for heavenly god Terelites. Fire Vine Bud, a divine medicine for strengthening one's body. Wishing Crocodile and the others' eyes almost popped out of their sockets when they saw the pile of divine items and treasures. They were extremely excited. Among them were powerful weapons, shocking divine elixirs, and cultivation methods for divine skills and ancient scriptures. Any one of them was enough to drive many crazy. Even Lin Tian could not help but be moved at this time. Then, his gaze fell on a transparent bottle. There was a purple pill in it that was intertwined with Tao patterns. Fighting Spirit Pill! A light flashed in his eyes. The Fighting Soul Pill was a divine pill that could increase one's cultivation for a short period of time. It could allow those above the middle true God realm and below the heavenly God realm to increase their cultivation by a whole realm for a short period of time. It could last for about 2 hours. Most importantly, there were no side effects after that. The conditions to concoct it were very strict, and it was very difficult to concoct it. He waved his hand and grabbed the Fighting Spirit Pill. Wishing Crocodile, White Tiger, Ling Yun, and the others looked at the bottle in his hand. Their expressions changed again. Naturally, they recognized the Fighting Spirit Pill in the bottle. They had seen records of this divine pill in some ancient books. Good stuff. Good stuff. Ling Yun stared. It's really good stuff. For the current situation, there's no better treasure than this. Lin Tiandao glanced at Hun Dun and the others outside the primordial immortal empire. Outside the primordial immortal empire, Hun Dun and the others were also looking at him. Seeing him cut off Hun Dunqi's limbs and plunder all of his treasures, everyone's expression was cold. The murderous intent in their eyes was not concealed at all. Human! Hun Dunqi's 4 limbs were chopped off. Blood was flowing out, and it was difficult to stop it. He stared coldly at Lin Tian, and his killing intent was the strongest. Lin Tian looked at Hun Dunqi with a cold expression. He waved his hand and put away all the treasures that he had taken from Hun Dunqi. The celestial weapon that belonged to Hun Dunqi mercilessly slashed at Hun Dunqi's head with golden divine light. You poo! Hun Dunqi spat out the word, you, in shock and anger. Then, his head was smashed into pieces by Lin Tian. Because he was suppressed by the primordial immortal empire, his divine power was solidified. After his head was shattered, his consciousness and soul were destroyed as well. With a raise of his hand, Lin Tian destroyed the remaining remnants of his body. Qi Shensi! Damn! Damn it! Human, how dare you! Outside the primordial immortal empire, the group of chaotic tribe cultivators were furious. One of their Shensi had been killed by Lin Tian right in front of their eyes. Hun Dun Nai and the other 8 Shensi's eyes turned even colder. They did not show any shock or anger. Only the coldness and killing intent in their eyes became more intense. "You're good," Hun Dun Nai said. The space around him twisted involuntarily as if it had turned into a source of destruction. Such a scene caused the eyes of Bai Ziki and the others to involuntarily narrow. "This bastard is a little scary. He's much stronger than Hun Dun Chi," the White Tiger said. "Very scary," Lingyun said. At this time, even though they were in the primordial immortal empire, they could feel how terrifying the aura that Hun Dun Chi gave off was. It was as if it could easily destroy everything. "Ya Lin Tian, I can't hold on any longer," little Taichu said in its childish voice. It looked at Lin Tian with an innocent expression. It had been holding up the primordial immortal empire for some time. At this time, as it finished speaking, the primordial immortal empire began to tremble as if it was about to dissipate. "It's okay. Leave it to me." Lin Tian now. As he finished speaking, he shattered the small jade bottle in his hand and swallowed the Duhun elixir. In an instant, the aura on his body began to rise. In the blink of an eye, he went from the peak of the middle true God stage to the peak of the middle heavenly God stage. Moreover, the divine power that was almost depleted was completely restored in an instant. He had reached the level of a heavenly god. "Don't force yourself, little guy. Retreat with the others," he said to little Taichu. Little Taichu responded in its childish voice. Immediately, its essence, energy, and spirit relaxed. The primordial immortal empire that it had been holding up disappeared. In an instant, the group was exposed to the outside world again. "Kill!" An angry voice rang out, mixed with a chilling aura. When the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators saw that the primordial immortal empire protecting Lin Tianyi and the others had disappeared, 3 middle heavenly gods rushed over. In the blink of an eye, they were in front of Lin Tian and the others. "Die!" The 3 of them had cold and vicious eyes. At this time, they attacked together. Chaotic killing light shrouded Lin Tianyi and the others. Lin Tian glanced at the 3 of them. With a light flick of his finger, 3 rays of golden sword light flew out. With a sizzling sound, the chaotic killing light that the 3 heavenly gods had unleashed shattered. Then, Lin Tian's 3 rays of golden sword light did not slow down. They continued to close in on the 3 heavenly gods and pierce through their foreheads. Then, with a series of poof poof poof, the 3 of them exploded. Even their divine souls were destroyed. This is really strong!" Whooshing Crocodile could not help but stare. At the same time, Bai Ziki and the others were shocked. 3 middle heavenly gods were killed in the blink of an eye. However, they were only shocked for a moment. In the next moment, they put away their shocked expressions. After all, they were very familiar with Lin Tian. They knew very well how powerful Lin Tian was. Now that he had temporarily reached the limit of a middle heavenly god with the help of the fighting spirit pill, killing 3 ordinary middle heavenly gods was no different from cutting grass and tofu. "Stand back," Lin Tian said to them. Bai Ziki and the others nodded. Then, they all retreated more than 1,000 feet away and looked at the place from afar. At the same time, the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators were also looking at Lin Tian. Some of them were shocked, while others were furious. They were shocked at how terrifying Lin Tian's combat strength was after consuming the Duhun elixir. They were furious that Lin Tian had killed another 3 heavenly god-tier powerhouses. More than 10,000 of them stepped onto the ancient road and killed many humans. They looked down on humans, but now, one of their divine princes and 3 of their heavenly gods was killed by a human they looked down on. This made them very angry. Hun Dun and the other 8 chaotic divine princes' expressions did not change. Only their eyes were as cold as before. "Your aura is not weak. Your combat strength is not bad. However, it's nothing." Chapter 1833. As the number 1 among the younger generation of the chaotic tribe, Hun Dun was undoubtedly very powerful. His aura alone was terrifying. His eyes were cold as he walked towards Lin Tian, like an ancient god descending upon the mortal world. Lin Tian's expression was indifferent. At this moment, his cultivation had reached the peak of the middle stage of the heavenly god realm. How could he care about Hun Dun? He took a step and disappeared instantly. His speed was extremely fast, and he appeared in front of Hun Dun in an instant. Hun Dun's eyes narrowed as he was shocked by Lin Tian's speed. At this moment, Lin Tian did not make any extra movements. He directly swung his fist and punched Hun Dun. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire void trembled as if it was going to collapse in the next moment. Such a punch shocked everyone. Even someone as strong as Hun Dun narrowed his eyes. At this moment, he had no time to dodge and could only cross his arms in front of him. In the next moment, Lin Tian's fist landed on Hun Dun's crossed arms. With a bang, Hun Dun was sent flying. Son of God! The cultivators of the chaotic tribe were shocked. They knew that Lin Tian had temporarily increased his cultivation with the fighting soul elixir and reached the middle stage of the heavenly god realm. However, their son of God was the number one among the younger generation of their tribe. His cultivation was at the half-step divine king realm and he had killed an early-stage divine king. But now, he was sent flying by Lin Tian with one punch. Even the eyes of the other 8 deities of the chaotic tribe changed slightly. Their eyes were filled with shock. Well done! At the back, Wishing Crocodile shouted. Kill him! Ling Yun said. More than 10,000 experts from the primal chaos race rushed into this ancient path, killing them one after another, treating them like they were nothing, treating them like ants. Now, Lin Tian killed a divine child and 3 heavenly deities from this bloodline, and then sent the number 1 supreme being of this race flying with a single punch. This made them feel extremely comfortable inside, as if they had vented their resentment. Boom! Tens of thousands of feet away, the divine radiance of the primal chaos was vast and mighty. The primal chaos had not suffered any major injuries, but its eyes had become extremely cold. It was as if 2 heavenly blades and demonic swords were being nurtured within it, capable of easily destroying everything. His eyes were cold and callous, just like Lin Tian's. Without any superfluous words, he stepped forward and attacked Lin Tian. Rumble! Numerous chaotic talismans appeared around his body. Every single chaotic talisman seemed capable of suppressing everything, and the aura they interweaved with each other was terrifying to the extreme. Lin Tianling snorted and stepped forward. Using the divining divine technique, he evolved one divine image after another. In the end, he even evolved the chaotic runes that Hun Dun had summoned. They pressed down on Hun Dun from all directions. This, the divine sun sigil of all extinguishing, how did he know? Seeing Lin Tian perform the same technique as Hun Dun, the thousands of Hun Dun cultivators were shocked. The other 8 divine sons of the Hun Dun also narrowed their eyes and stared at Lin Tian without blinking. Only Bai Ziki and the rest had no change in expression because they all knew that Lin Tian had the divining divine technique and could evolve other people's supernatural powers for his own use. He could even evolve the king's territory. Boom! 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 The divine powers collided. Lin Tian and Hun Dun fought together. All kinds of treasures surged, and the space around them collapsed continuously. Lin Tian unleashed the divining divine technique, and the Ling Tian sword scripture as well. Killing swords interweaved in the sky and slashed at Hun Dun like a rain of swords. At the same time, his eyes narrowed. Through the short exchange, he realized how terrifying and powerful Hun Dun was. At the same time, chaos on the other side was even more astonished. Very good, you have far exceeded my expectations. It seems that it will take some time to kill you. Staring at Lin Tian, Hun Dun said coldly. He had used countless heavenly resources to forge his body, and the chaotic king's blood to forge his body. He was the strongest person among the younger generation of the chaotic clan. As a half-step god king, even regular early god kings were nothing before him. However, Lin Tian, who had temporarily reached mid-god through the soul-dueling pill, was actually so powerful. He was completely capable of facing him head-on right now. He actually felt a sliver of pressure. Lin Tian didn't say anything. He executed the High Heaven Sword scripture and the divining divine technique together. All kinds of killing swords and divining divine images filled up this part of the sky, crushing the primal chaos. Streaks of primal chaos runes were unleashed one after another, shattering the surrounding space one after another. Buzz! Silver divine light surged, and the seal of the four symbols was also propped up by him. With the power of a mid-stage heavenly god, endless sealing and annihilation power interweaved, crushing down on the chaos. The aura was somewhat frightening. Hun Dun's eyes were cold. He shook his body, and a large amount of Hun Dun light overflowed, forming more killing runes around him. Clang! These runes let out a sound similar to the sound of swords, shattering the great void and crashing towards Lin Tian. In an intense clash, Lin Tian and this person fought. Every strike was filled with destructive power. It was extremely terrifying. Under the violent impact of the divine power, the two of them were evenly matched. This scene shocked the thousands of chaotic clan cultivators. They never thought that a human who had temporarily raised his cultivation to mid-stage heavenly god with the help of the soul-dueling pill would be able to completely block the strongest person among the younger generation of their clan. It's just a temporary increase in cultivation. It's just a temporary block. It's no big deal. It won't be long before the deity can kill him directly. That's right, the chaotic clan cultivators said. Then someone's gaze landed on little Taichu and the others in the distance. His eyes were filled with cold light as he said, "The deity will deal with that person. We'll get rid of these ants first." As he spoke, this person took a step forward and pressed towards little Taichu and Baiziki. He was a peak heavenly god. As this person took a step forward, the other heavenly gods from the chaotic clan moved as well. They all charged towards little Taichu and the others. Lin Tian and Hun Dun were fighting fiercely. However, he had been paying attention to little Taichu and the others. At this moment, when he saw the chaotic clan cultivators attacking little Taichu and the others, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Without saying anything, he swung his hand and a large amount of towering heaven sword gleam pressed down with a force that could destroy everything in the world. Such a sword force was extremely terrifying. It caused the chaotic clan cultivators who were attacking little Taichu and the others to tremble. They could not help but stop in their tracks and put up their divine power light screens to resist. However, the towering heaven sword gleam that Lin Tian slashed towards them was a divine power from the towering heaven sword scripture. It was extremely sharp. The divine power light screens that these people put up could not withstand it at all. They were all destroyed in an instant. Chapter 1834. Glaring blood floated in the air, speckles of blood accompanied by pieces of flesh and bones splattered everywhere, causing the chaotic tribe cultivators to turn pale again. Damn it! The chaotic tribe cultivators were shocked and furious. Those who attacked earlier were peak heavenly god-level powerhouses, but Lin Tian destroyed their bodies and souls with a wave of his hand. Human! Hun Dun glared at Lin Tian, his eyes turning even colder. The divine power outside his body became even more powerful, surging violently. As soon as he appeared here, he saw Lin Tian kill more than 10 people from his tribe. All of them were heavenly god-level powerhouses, and one of them was Hun Chi, one of the 10 divine children of the chaotic tribe. His murderous intent became even more intense. With a rumble, the chaotic light he unleashed became even more powerful, almost covering the entire space. How many people have you killed when you entered this ancient road? Now that I've killed more than 10 of you, you look like your parents have died. How unsightly. Lin Tian now. As he spoke, his hands did not slow down. All kinds of divine powers and precious skills were unleashed, suppressing Hun Dun. Hun Dun's expression turned even colder when he heard Lin Tian's words. His aura became even more terrifying, and his murderous intent surged. Boom! 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 The two of them clashed fiercely, causing the space in the area to continue to shatter. The place had turned into a zone of destruction. Bang! Lin Tian's body was surrounded by endless divine light. Using the yin-yang steps, he appeared in front of Hun Dun, leaving after images all over the sky. He immediately threw a punch, landing it on Hun Dun's chest. With a poof, a large bloody hole was punched through Hun Dun's chest. However, at the same time, Hun Dun's chaotic light also landed on his body, piercing through his chest. Blood flowed, but Lin Tian's expression didn't change at all. The art of nirvana of the sun circulated on its own, rapidly healing his wounds. His speed increased as he circulated the art of 5 heaven-shaking thunders and directly opened the 5 lightning divine territory. With a rumble, the sky was filled with purple lightning. In the blink of an eye, this place was transformed into a sea of lightning. With this kind of domain-type divine art as the foundation, Zhongyu shuttled through the sea with extreme speed. He kept on appearing around Hun Dun and unleashed the Chaos Monarch Fist, Towering Heaven Sword Ray, Tyrannical Dance Seal, Divine Picture of 4 Appearances, and Divinatory Divine Art. Bang! 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 The muffled sound was accompanied by a splash of blood. He attacked with a domain-type supernatural power like the 5 Thunder Divine Territory combined with a stunning divine technique. The speed of his attack was so fast that it was difficult for Chaos to react. In the blink of an eye, he was hit by dozens of fierce attacks from Lin Tian. Son of God! How could this be? Impossible! The cultivators of the chaotic tribe were shocked. At this time, the first son of God of their tribe was being suppressed. Wishing Crocodile, Ling Yun, and the others all felt very comfortable. Good beating! Beat him until his own mother can't recognize him! The White Tiger roared. These words undoubtedly enraged the cultivators of the chaotic tribe. They stared at the White Tiger with murderous intent. Bastard! As they cursed coldly, more than 10 cultivators of the chaotic tribe moved again. They charged toward the White Tiger, Wishing Crocodile, and the others. However, just as these cultivators of the chaotic tribe moved, the sky trembled. Dense purple lightning suddenly pressed down and enveloped these cultivators in the blink of an eye. Ah! Blood mist floated in the air along with screams. These purple lightning bolts were the power of Lin Tian's 5 thunder sky-shaking spell. In the blink of an eye, these cultivators of the chaotic tribe were smashed into pieces, along with their divine souls. Human! Damn it! The other cultivators of the chaotic tribe, except for a few sons of God, were all angry and fearful. They were all shocked by Lin Tian's combat strength at this time. It was so easy for him to kill a divine realm expert, as if he was cutting grass. At this time, there was a loud boom, and an extremely terrifying chaotic light shot into the sky. Enough! The chaotic tribe's eyes were cold as they broke free from Lin Tian's rapid attack. Divine light surged behind him, and a blood cave appeared. It was about 100 feet long, like a blood-red vortex that could swallow everything, exuding a murderous aura that could slaughter the world. This is the Son of God's gifted superpower, formed by condensing the bloodline of the primordial true demon. Heaven's punishment demon cave! Many cultivators of the chaotic tribe saw this scene and could not help but tremble. Then, they could not help but clench their fists. He's dead! Someone stared at Lin Tian, his eyes full of malice. The first son of God of their tribe had the bloodline of the primordial true demon. Now that he had used the Heaven's Slayer Demon Cave, they knew its power very well. Even an ordinary middle-stage divine realm expert would be afraid and unable to block it. The chaotic tribe's eyes were cold and deep. With a wave of his hand, the Heaven's Slayer Demon Cave shook and instantly pressed down on Lin Tian. As this demon cave passed by, the space in all directions was really solidified and directly swallowed Lin Tian. He's dead! Seeing this, one of the Primal Chaos tribe cultivators said coldly. Even the other sons of God of the chaotic tribe thought so. They did not think that Lin Tian could survive under the Heaven's Slayer Demon Cave. However, in the next moment, all the chaotic tribe in this place were shocked. Lin Tian's figure rushed out from the Heaven's Slayer Demon Cave, unharmed. Like a human lightning bolt, he instantly appeared in front of the chaotic tribe and directly swung the chaotic emperor fist down. The chaotic tribe's expression changed for the first time. You! Bam! He had just spat out the word, you, when Lin Tian's fist landed on his cheek. With a poof, his head was smashed into pieces. Blood mixed with brain matter floated in the air. It was a shocking sight. Son of God! How is this possible? How could this be? The Heaven's Slayer demon cave of a son of God, actually. The cultivators of the chaotic tribe were shocked. Even the other 8 sons of God of the chaotic tribe had completely changed expressions at this time. The chaotic tribe's Heaven's Slayer demon cave was difficult for even them to withstand. Even if they could, they would definitely be seriously injured. But now, after being enveloped by the Heaven's Slayer demon cave, Lin Tian was clearly not affected at all. This was unbelievable. The Heaven's Slayer demon cave is useless against him? The 8 sons of God of the chaotic tribe were shocked. At the same time, in the void, after Lin Tian smashed the chaotic tribe's head, he did not give the other party the slightest chance to breathe. All kinds of supernatural powers and secret techniques came crashing down, bombarding the chaotic tribe's body continuously, completely shattering his physical body. Damn it! The chaotic tribe's immortal divine soul let out a roar. His divine soul bloomed with dazzling divine soul light and quickly reformed his physical body. Chapter 1835. The Yin-Yang Lotus Sea was intertwined with the black and white power of Yin and Yang. The God Transformation Talisman was surrounded by the surging aura of the God Transformation Realm, and the Reincarnation Map was extremely powerful, mixed with holiness, majesty, and vastness. It seemed to be able to destroy everything as it shrouded Hun Dun. Such an attack caused everyone to be shocked. Damn it! Hun Dun's face turned cold. With a buzz, a divine shield flew out of his soul and enlarged in the blink of an eye. It protected his divine soul behind it and blocked Lin Tian's Yin-Yang Lotus Sea, God Transformation Talisman, and Reincarnation Map. At the same time, his soul shone and quickly regathered his physical body. Lin Tian's eyes narrowed. The fact that Hun Dun could hide such a powerful weapon in his divine soul and block his king's territory made him realize how powerful and terrifying Hun Dun was. However, in the next moment, he humphed coldly and took a step forward. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Hun Dun again. Hun Dun was very powerful, but how could he be weak? Although he had only raised his cultivation level to the middle stage of the heavenly god realm with the help of the soul-fighting elixir, which was still 2 small levels lower than Hun Dun, he had the strongest reincarnation king physique after all. Besides, he had tempered his body through several heavenly tribulations. Hence, his current combat power wouldn't be any weaker than Hun Dun's. Boom! Without any unnecessary movements, he waved the Chaos Emperor Fist and the power of the Emperor Fist surged in all directions and blasted down. At the same time, he waved the heavenly divine weapon Divine Sword that he had snatched from Hun Dun and used it to perform the heavenly sword scripture. In the blink of an eye, the place was filled with dense sword lights, each of which was extremely terrifying. Hun Dun had just regathered his physical body and was about to face Lin Tian's Chaos Emperor Fist and heavenly sword scripture. For a moment, he didn't even have time to cast the technique. In the blink of an eye, he was enveloped by Lin Tian's fist aura and sword light, and was sent flying with a bang. Pft! 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 The heavenly sword scripture swept past and left bloody holes on Hun Dun's body in the blink of an eye. It was a terrifying sight. Lin Tian took a step forward, his high heaven sword scripture even more ferociously, and his Chaos Emperor Fist was even more powerful. He did not give the Chaos Emperor the slightest chance to catch his breath. In the end, he also unleashed his divine Tao regulations together, turning this place into an attacking sea of divine rivers. Hun Dun roared furiously as he utilized various divine abilities while divine Tao laws surged into appearance. However, at this moment, he'd lost the initiative to engage in battle, and the initiative to attack was completely grasped in Lin Tian's hands. So, he seemed to be in an extremely sorry state. Bang! There was a muffled sound. Once again, Hun Dun was sent flying by Lin Tianyi's punch. Half of his body was smashed, and blood splattered all over the sky. The divine shield that was summoned from his godly soul body had also lost its effect and was sent flying thousands of feet away by Lin Tianyi. Son of God! This. The primal chaos tribe cultivators trembled in fear. At this point, the number one divine son of their clan was completely suppressed by Lin Tian. How is this possible? These people were not willing to believe this scene. When the other 8 divine sons of this bloodline saw this scene, a strange light flashed across their eyes. Let's attack together and kill him directly, one of them said. He was the number 2 divine son of this generation of the primal chaos tribe, Hun Ji. As soon as he finished speaking, he took a step forward. Chaotic light surged and a great divine ability appeared. Endless dark light surrounded the entire space and pressed down on Lin Tian. At the same time, the other 7 divine sons attacked together. Each of them had an extremely strong aura. Like them, Hun Dun was one of the 10 divine sons of the primal chaos tribe and was the number 1 of the younger generation. Originally, they would never interfere in the battle between Hun Dun and Lin Tian. However, during the battle between Hun Dun and Lin Tian, they were shocked by Lin Tian's strength. Although he had temporarily reached the middle stage of the divine realm with the help of the soul-fighting elixir, his combat strength was really terrifying. Moreover, at this moment, Hun Dun had lost the initiative, and the initiative was completely in the hands of Lin Tian. The situation was not optimistic, so they had to take action now. Most importantly, the purpose of their trip was to obtain the world seed at the end of the ancient road. This was the most important thing. At this time, they could not continue to waste too much time in this place. They had to get rid of Lin Tian as soon as possible. Boom! As the 8 divine sons attacked together, 8 divine realm auras surged and the surrounding space was completely shattered in an instant. Lin Tian's expression changed immediately, and he quickly retreated. Now that he had temporarily reached the middle stage of the divine realm with the help of the soul-fighting elixir, his combat strength was not weaker than Hun Dun, who was at the half-step divine realm. However, the divine sons of the primal chaos tribe were all very strong. They were all experts who could kill an ordinary early-stage divine king. Even if he was at the middle stage of the divine realm and had a reincarnated body, he would definitely not be able to withstand the attacks of these people together. Moreover, in the battle with Hun Dun, he had used up a lot of his divine power, and his combat strength had decreased. Swoosh! He moved with the duality steps, leaving behind an afterimage. In the blink of an eye, he appeared beside Bai Ziki and the others. Let's go! Without saying anything else, he said to Bai Ziki and the others. He immediately enveloped Bai Ziki and the others in divine light. Relying on the soul-fighting elixir that had temporarily reached the middle stage of the divine realm cultivation base, he activated the duality steps and moved an endless distance in an instant. Hun Dun's expression was gloomy and ugly. The other 8 divine sons' eyes were cold. They stepped forward together and chased after Lin Tian. At the same time, the other thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators followed behind and quickly caught up. You're welcome. You don't have to send us off. Lin Tian's voice came from afar. At the same time, more than 100 light balls flew across the sky. They were all surrounded by lightning and were mixed with the terrifying power of the 5 heavenly lightning technique. Hun Dun and the other 8 divine sons of the chaotic tribe were shocked. Naturally, they could feel the terrifying power of the lightning balls. Swoosh! 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 They moved thousands of feet away to avoid the lightning balls. However, although they dodged at an extremely fast speed, the other thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators behind them were not so lucky. The hundreds of lightning balls rushed into the crowd and exploded. Thousands of primal chaos tribe cultivators were blasted into pieces. Cries of agony could be heard as blood splattered everywhere. The lightning light lingered in the sky and the destructive power intertwined. When the lightning light dissipated, more than 1,000 chaotic tribe cultivators had their bodies and souls destroyed, including dozens of heavenly god-tier powerhouses. Hun dun dun dun, and the others' expressions turned even colder and uglier. Their murderous intent was even more intense. Chase. As the word was said, the 9 of them took another step forward and chased after Lin Tianyi and the others. The direction that Lin Tianyi and the others were heading in was the end of the ancient road. They were going to the end of the ancient road to get the world seed. After leaving the place where they were before, Lin Tian enveloped by Ziki and the others in golden divine light. They were extremely fast and had already traveled far away. Chapter 1836. Lin Tian's aura began to weaken. His cultivation level quickly returned to middle stage true god. This kid, isn't the Duhan elixir able to last for 2 hours? It seems like only an hour has passed. Why did the elixir's effect disappear? Whooshing Crocodile asked. Bai Ziki and the others looked at Lin Tian with the same doubts. After leaving, I carved many formations in the void along the way to interfere with their pursuit. It consumed a lot of divine power, Lin Tian explained. Hearing his words, the 5 elements alligator and the others instantly understood. Let's find a place. I need to heal first, he continued. Previously, he was severely injured because of Hun Dun's blaze. Later on, although he recovered his divine power due to the Duhan elixir and his cultivation level temporarily reached middle stage heavenly god and his combat power became very strong, his injuries were still there. At this time, as the Duhan elixir's effect disappeared, his injuries were more serious than before. At that moment, he spread out his divine thought and found a more secluded place in a barren mountain in front of him. He asked little Taichu, Bai Ziki and the others to protect him. He immediately sat down with his legs crossed and activated the Sun Heart Sutra and the Sun's Nirvana spell to quickly adjust his condition and heal his injuries. Buzz! Golden divine light surrounded his body and his injuries began to heal bit by bit. His essence, energy and spirit were also strengthened bit by bit. As he had previously used a large amount of divine power to leave many illusory formations in the void, it was enough to interfere with Hun Dun and the others. It was definitely not a problem to stop them for 10 to 15 days. Therefore, at this time, he was not worried that those people would reach the end of the ancient road first because of his healing. Those people would not be able to reach the world seed in a short time. As he activated the Sun Heart Sutra and the Sun's Nirvana spell, the golden light on his body gradually became thicker and his aura became stronger. Just like that, time passed. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. On this day, the injuries on his body were healed. Moreover, there was an extremely majestic aura that rushed out of his body. His cultivation level rose from middle stage true god to middle stage true god peak true god. There were waves of divine power storms in this place. Great! He clenched his fists, and a glint flashed in his eyes. Originally, after he had taken the sword soul fragment from the ancient road, his cultivation level had already reached the peak of the middle stage of Rio God and he could have stepped into the peak of Rio God any time. After that, he had fought with Hun Dun Shi and Hun Dun Nan consecutively. Under the training of the battles, his cultivation level naturally broke through as his injuries healed. As his cultivation reached the peak of the true God realm, he naturally felt the changes in his body. The divine power in his body became denser, and his physique became stronger. Compared to when he was in the middle stage of the true God realm, his current battle prowess was several times stronger. He was completely capable of fighting against a middle stage heavenly God realm expert. Of course, he could only fight against ordinary middle stage heavenly gods. Against a middle stage heavenly god with Hun Dun's aptitude, even if he had the reincarnation body, it was impossible for him to resist. He exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and stood up. He said to Bai Ziki and the others, "All right, let's go to the end of the ancient road." He was about to ask Bai Ziki and the others to continue to the end of the ancient road. However, halfway through his sentence, his expression changed. His divine soul could not help but tremble, and there was a look of surprise in his eyes. "Kid, what's wrong?" the white tiger asked. "Yeah?" Little Taichu blinked with a curious expression. Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, and I Yao Yao and the others also looked at him curiously. Naturally, they saw his strange reaction. Wisps of soul light intertwined in Lin Tian's eyes. He activated the Heavenly One Soul technique, and soul light spread out from his body. Gradually, the soul light on his body became denser, and there was a glint in his eyes. This is really a wonderful discovery. The glint in his eyes became even denser. Seeing him like this, Bai Ziki, Ling Yun and the others became even more puzzled. Kid, what's wrong with you all of a sudden? What wonderful discovery! What did you find? Ling Yun asked. Lin Tian smiled and said, I found some good things. As he spoke, he squatted down and activated the Heavenly One Soul technique even faster. He placed his palm on the ground, and wisps of soul light intertwined between his 5 fingers and went into the ground through his 5 fingers. An intense soul light flickered. Only after more than 2 hours had passed did he stand up once again. Okay, let's go to the end of the ancient road, he said. Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, and Wishing Crocodile all had strange expressions, but they did not ask anything. Immediately, the group left this place and continued to head toward the end of the ancient road. Speaking of which, our speed is not as fast as those people from the Chaos race. Even if you engraved many interference runes before and can disturb them for 10 to 15 days, they will still rush up quickly. Calculating the approximate distance from here to the end of the ancient road, I think they will have caught up with us before we reach the end of the ancient road. This is a little troublesome, Wishing Crocodile said to Lin Tian Dao. Lin Tian had mentioned to them about the 10 divine children of the Chaos race, including their names and appearances. Tiger Master is also thinking about this, White Tiger said with a worried expression. At the same time, Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, and the others frowned. Obviously, they had considered this problem. It could be said that their situation was still very dangerous. It's okay, we don't have to worry anymore. If they rush up, we will wipe them out. Lin Tian now. He naturally thought of this problem early on, and was worried about it before, but now, he was not worried at all. His eyes were intertwined with a bright light, and he sneered from time to time. Bai Ziki and the others could not help but be puzzled by these words. Wipe out those experts of the Chaos race? Could they do that? One should know that 9 of them were experts who could kill ordinary divine kings. With their current strength, even Lin Tian would not be a match for them if they did not have a divine elixir like the Fighting Spirit elixir. The Fighting Spirit elixir was obviously out of stock now. Under such circumstances, Lin Tian actually said that he would wipe out those experts of the Chaos race. Kid, I don't think you can do this, right? Ling Yun said. It can be done. Lin Tian Dao did not say much. Let's go, you will know later. He called out to the group and continued to walk deeper into the ancient road. After this, more than half a month passed in the blink of an eye. More than half a month later, on this day, a monstrous divine power appeared behind them, and thousands of waves of divine power fluctuations appeared in the blink of an eye. These thousands of Chaos race cultivators were led by 9 young men. They were the group of experts of the Chaos race from before. The 9 people in the lead were the 9 Chaos Divine Princes, Hun Dun Ji, Hun Dun Yi, Hun Dun Yi, Hun Dun Wei, Hun Dun Du, Hun Dun Di, Hun Dun Zi, and Hun Dun Shi. Seeing this group of people chasing after them, Bai Ziki and the others could not help but change their expressions slightly. Their expressions became very solemn. Kid Lin, these F** curs have really caught up. How are you going to wipe them out? Chapter 1837. Don't be nervous. Lin Tian saw that Wishing Crocodile was wary and worried. He said, I'll give them a huge gift soon. All right, it's up to you, Wishing Crocodile said. Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, Fanning Xiong, White Tiger, and the others also heard Lin Tian's words. Although they were puzzled, they were more or less relieved. They knew Lin Tian and knew that Lin Tian would not say such things for no reason. Moreover, Lin Tian looked so confident, as if everything was under control. Human! A cold voice sounded from the opposite side. Hun Dun Ji, and the other chaotic tribe cultivators walked over, their faces extremely cold. Some of the ordinary chaotic tribe cultivators were in a sorry state because of the divine runes that Lin Tian had left in the void. Apart from Hun Dun and a few other divine princes, all of them were in a sorry state. Kill him! Hun Ji, the second divine prince of the chaotic tribe, said coldly. I'll do it! Hun Dun stepped forward. He had not been able to kill Lin Tian previously, and had suffered a loss at Lin Tian's hands. Now that he had caught up with Lin Tian, he wanted to kill Lin Tian alone again to erase the humiliation from before. As he stepped forward, strands of chaotic light intertwined. Each strand was as heavy as a galaxy and had a terrifying aura. Lin Tian looked at him walking over and did not care at all. Have you ever thought that you would die here this time? Hun Dun's footsteps did not change, but his eyes were still cold. You're not ordinary, but without the Duhun elixir, you're nothing now. How can you kill me? His voice was emotionless, and the aura outside his body became stronger. Lin Tianyi smiled. Let's try then. As he finished speaking, he activated the Tianyi Soul technique. Instantly, the space in this place shook violently. With a rumble, strands of ancient runes appeared on the surface of the ground. Every strand of runes was intertwined with extremely frightening killing intent. Rays of killing light circled out, causing the entire world to tremble as if the end of the world had arrived. Hun Dun stopped in his tracks and trembled involuntarily. His expression changed immediately. You! At the same time, the other 8 divine princes and thousands of chaotic tribe experts were all shocked. This is divine Emperor level killing runes? All the chaotic tribe cultivators trembled. At the same time, the expressions of Baiziki and the others also changed. They were all shocked when they saw these killing marks that suddenly appeared. Kid you! How did you do this? They could not believe they saw Saw's killings. They could see TT. They could not believe how could they? How could Lin suddenly s? These were divine emperor level killing runes. They were certain that Lin Tian had not carved them. With Lin Tian's current cultivation, he could not carve divine emperor level killings. When I broke through to the peak of True God Realm, I accidentally discovered that the second half of this ancient road was covered in divine emperor killing runes. Although 90% of them have been destroyed by the passage of time, the killing power is still enough. Lin Tian now. Some time ago, when he reached the peak of True God Realm, he suddenly sensed these divine emperor killings. These killings were very profound and complicated. Even those who were at the divine emperor level would find it difficult to activate them. However, the Tianyi Soul technique he cultivated was an Arrayway Immortal Classic, created by one of the 9 great celestial masters, the Array Emperor. It contained endless mysteries. With the Tianyi Soul technique, he could naturally activate these divine emperor level killings. So that's how it is. Baiziki, Ni Yao Yao, and the others were shocked. At this moment, they finally understood why Lin Tian had such a strange reaction when he broke through to the peak of True God Realm. They also finally understood why Lin Tian said that if Hun Dun and the others were to chase after them, they would be wiped out. It turned out that Lin Tian had discovered divine emperor level killings on this ancient road. Think about it, these divine emperor level killings should have been left on this ancient road by the founders of the Lord Theological Seminary, right? Whooshing Crocodile asked. Then, he asked in confusion. Then, why didn't the higher-ups of the Lord Theological Seminary activate these killing marks after the chaotic race entered the ancient road? Don't they know about the existence of these monarch marks and how to activate them? I heard that in a certain era, the headmaster of the imperial courtyard died suddenly due to cultivation deviation while in seclusion. Perhaps only the headmaster of the imperial courtyard knows the method to activate the formation runes. However, the headmaster of that era died suddenly and didn't have time to pass down the method to the next headmaster of the imperial courtyard. As a result, the current headmaster of the imperial courtyard is unable to activate the formation runes. Lingyan guessed. Oh. Wishing Crocodile nodded. That should be the case. The white tiger bared its teeth and said, It doesn't matter what the reason is. It's not important now. What's important is that I know that these bastards of chaos are about to suffer. Hearing what it said, the five elements Crocodile and Ling Yun both sneered. That's right, that's right! Boom! Terrifying divine power surged. In this place, the great void trembled. Strands of Emperor God killing marks floated in the air and intertwined into rays of terrifying killing light. Each ray of killing light was nurtured with power that could wipe out everything. It was extremely terrifying. Hun Dun and the other divine princes of the chaotic race, as well as the other experts of the chaotic race, all turned pale at this moment. They all felt a chill run down their spines. Retreat! Hun Dun shouted in a low voice and immediately retreated. He turned into a ray of light and escaped into the distance. At the same time, the other 8 divine princes of the chaotic race and the other experts of the chaotic race also moved. All of them escaped at an astonishing speed. At this moment, endless God Emperor level killing runes covered the entire area, causing all the experts of the chaotic tribe to be terrified. No one believed that they could withstand such killing runes. Right now, escaping was their only way to save their lives. Seeing that Hun Dun and the others were escaping, Lin Tianji smiled coldly. Under the Emperor God killing marks, where are you going to run to? As he said this, he triggered his thoughts. The killing light in this place suddenly moved. It was as if a killing sea had descended and slashed at all the cultivators of the chaotic race indiscriminately. Ah! In the blink of an eye, screams were heard. A large number of experts of the chaotic race exploded and their bodies and souls were instantly destroyed. Chapter 1838. Killing marks at the Emperor God level surged. Under Lin Tian's control of the Divine One Soul technique, a large area of Emperor God killing light pressed down on Hun Dun. Hun Dun's expression changed drastically. Boom! Without any hesitation, Hun Dun immediately propped up the heavenly demon slayer nest to protect himself. Will it work? Lin Tianling smiled. In the next moment, the killing light that he mobilized with the Divine One Soul technique pressed down. With a whoosh, it shattered Hun Dun's Divine One Soul technique. Then, it landed directly on Hun Dun's body, causing him to explode on the spot. Damn it! Hun Dun's angry voice sounded. He seemed a little weak. His divine soul was not destroyed. He quickly reformed his physical body. His face became extremely pale as he continued to fly. These are Emperor God level killing marks. Although they are badly damaged, their power is still very terrifying. They are a fatal threat to ordinary divine emperors. This bastard can actually survive under the attack of Lin Tianling's killing light. He is really strong. Whooshing Crocodile could not help but be shocked. Whoosh! There was the sound of breaking air. Hun Dun's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he had crossed more than 10,000 feet. Regarding this, Lin Tian did not move, and did not give chase at all. This was because the second half of the ancient path was almost completely covered by killing patterns. Just by standing here, he could mobilize all of the killing patterns within a radius of 50,000 zhang. Within this radius of 50,000 zhang, as long as he willed it, any corner of the killing patterns would be instantly activated, turning that area into a killing zone. He looked at Hun Dun, who had escaped more than 10,000 feet away, and smiled coldly. He activated the Divine One Soul technique. The killing marks that existed there were immediately revived. Although they were still badly damaged, their killing power was still very frightening. It was as if they could annihilate everything. I'll send you on your way, he sneered. As soon as he finished speaking, the revived killing marks at the spot where Hun Dun had escaped instantly intertwined with endless killing light. In the blink of an eye, they gathered into a killing sword that could break the sky. It was 100 feet long and mercilessly slashed at Hun Dun. In an instant, Hun Dun trembled violently. The surrounding space was completely frozen and sealed by this terrifying killing sword. In the blink of an eye, the killing sword arrived in front of Hun Dun and landed on his body. No! A roar filled with despair and unwillingness rang out. The bloody mist exploded, and the primal chaos was directly annihilated by this sword. Good! He's finally dead! Whooshing Crocodile could not help but clench its claws. Awesome! Lingyun said. At this moment, they were not at all surprised that the powerful Hun Dun could be obliterated so easily. This was because it was all too normal. After all, that was a killing light condensed from a God Emperor level killing array. Even though the killing array was badly damaged, it was ultimately created by a God Emperor. How could a mere half-step Divine King block such a killing array? At the same time, the cultivators of the chaotic tribe naturally saw this scene and they could not help but tremble. Over 10,000 experts of their tribe had killed their way to this ancient road. In the beginning, no one could stop them. However, ever since they met Lin Tian, they were defeated everywhere. Qi Shensi, one of the 10 great deities, and more than 1,000 other tribesmen had died in Lin Tian's hands. Now, when they caught up with Lin Tian again and wanted to kill Lin Tian, they did not expect Lin Tian to suddenly summon an Emperor God level killing mark. The number 1 deity of their tribe, Hun Dun, was killed in the blink of an eye. Regarding this, the cultivators of the chaotic tribe were shocked, angry, and resentful. However, they were more afraid because at this moment, the Emperor God level killing marks were too terrifying. The killing light that was intertwined with each other seemed to be able to easily destroy a parallel universe. Swoosh! 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 Air-rending sounds were heard and the cultivators of the chaotic tribe fled in fear. However, there were Emperor God level killing marks everywhere in the space. How could they escape so easily? Ah! Screams were heard and it was incomparably shrill. Blood mist exploded one by one as the experts of the chaotic tribe exploded into pieces. The other 8 deities of the chaotic tribe propped up their divine weapons to protect themselves. They were the fastest to escape into the distance. Lin Tian did not care about the ordinary cultivators of the chaotic tribe. His eyes moved and fell on the 8 deities of the chaotic tribe. 2 of the 10 great deities have already been buried on this ancient road. Why are you running? Aren't you going to accompany them here? He said indifferently. As soon as he finished speaking, the Divine One Soul spell was activated and the killing light from all directions gathered, intertwining into a killing sword that was about 1,000 feet long. In the next moment, a clang was heard and the killing sword moved, slashing straight at Hun Dun-ji. Hun Dun-ji was the 2nd deity of the chaotic tribe. Like Hun Dun, he was also in the half-step Divine King realm. He was only slightly weaker than Hun Dun-dun. At this moment, facing the sword head-on, his physical body could not help but tremble. With a loud roar, he mobilized all of his divine power, activating his divine powers and divine Tao laws. He also took out a powerful divine weapon. However, the killing light from the Emperor God level killing rune was extremely terrifying. How could a half-step Divine King withstand it? The Divine Way Law and Divine Weapon that he had unleashed were all crushed the moment they collided with the killing light. Then, the killing sword that was about 1,000 feet long did not slow down and continued to slash down. In the next breath, it landed on his physical body. Poof! Blood splattered and Hun Dun-ji's physical body was directly cut into pieces. His divine soul was also annihilated. Another one. Good to kill! Whooshing Crocodile laughed. Continue. Annihilate all 10 of those dog Shasterous T divine sons from this clan. The White Tiger roared. Lin Tianling smiled and said, That's how it should be. He shifted his gaze and looked at the other 7 divine princes of the chaotic clan. He activated the Heavenly One Soul spell, and with a single thought, a new 100-foot-long killing sword appeared. It was formed entirely from the killing lights of the Divine Emperor level killing marks in this place. It was intertwined with an aura that could destroy everything. It slashed down on Hun Dun-yi, the 3rd divine prince of this clan. Human! A furious and unwilling voice reverberated. Hun Dun-yi's divine power was immediately shattered by the 1,000-feet-long killing sword. In the next moment, the 1,000-feet-long killing sword landed on his body. Just like Hun Dun-ji and Hun Dun-ji, it instantly shattered him. His physical body and divine soul were annihilated and completely disappeared from this universe. At the same time, in this place, screams of agony rang out incessantly. Blood mist exploded one after another. Even without Lin Tian's deliberate control, the God Emperor level killing marks here still caused the ordinary primal chaos tribe cultivators to suffer and die one after another. In the blink of an eye, there were more than 7,000 chaotic tribe cultivators who came here. 3,000 of them were completely annihilated. Chapter 1839. The Primal Chaos Tribe's 10 divine princes stepped onto the ancient road, leaving only Primal Chaos Yang, Primal Chaos Wei, Primal Chaos End, Primal Chaos D, Primal Chaos ZZ, and Primal Chaos Tin. At this moment, they didn't stop at all. Although they were extremely shocked and angry, they could only flee. Lin Tian's gaze fell on these 6 people. He smiled coldly, and with a move of his mind, a large amount of killing light fell upon them. Clang! The killing light emitted a sound similar to that of a sword, shattering everything and covering the 6 divine princes of the chaotic race. In the next moment, the 2 divine princes from the chaotic tribe were both crushed in the blink of an eye. Damn it! The 6 of them roared in anger. Under this pure killing light, their souls were not shattered. They quickly reformed their bodies and fled into the distance again. At this time, the killing patterns that interweaved in this place were too terrifying. Even those as powerful as them couldn't help but shiver. Can you escape? Lin Tianling smiled. He raised his hand, and soul light surged. Killing light gathered in all directions, turning into a killing immortal seal that pressed down on the chaotic lightning. The chaotic centipede felt his scalp go numb, and he roared furiously while he utilized his innate divine ability, the phenomenon in his sea of consciousness, divine Tao laws, and heavenly divine weapons in unison, and he moved to intercept Xingqi's attack. However, in the face of the celestial slaughter seal formed by the Emperor God level killing runes, these techniques were useless. In an instant, they were crushed into pieces. Then, the celestial slaughter seal landed on his body. Pooh! Blood splattered as the primal chaos puppet exploded on the spot. Both its physical body and divine soul vanished under this attack, and both its body and soul were destroyed. Continue the slaughter! The wishing crocodile howled. In just a few dozen breaths of time, the divine princes of the Primal Chaos race, Primal Chaos Rao, Primal Chaos G, Primal Chaos E, and Primal Chaos Pi, who had come to this place, had been killed one after another. The killing marks of the 10 directional divine monarchs intertwined with one another. Dense killing lights shot out one after another. This place had completely turned into a cage of killing. The cultivators of the chaotic tribe tried to escape in fear, but it was useless. Pooh! 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 Blood splattered everywhere. In the blink of an eye, the thousands of chaotic tribe cultivators, including the last 5 chaotic divine princes, were reduced to just over 300. Human, stop! Otherwise, you will be our clan's eternal enemy. If we miss today, we will definitely kill you! A heavenly god-tier powerhouse from the chaotic tribe roared. Lin Tian glanced at them. You're talking as if you didn't want to kill me. As the words left his mouth, a wave of killing light blasted towards the chaos expert who had spoken, instantly arriving before him. Pooh! Blood splattered everywhere as the heavenly god-tier chaotic tribe cultivator exploded. Both his body and soul were destroyed in an instant. This was the killing light created by the God Emperor level killing marks. Even Hun Dun, the divine son of the primal chaos tribe, couldn't withstand it. How could these ordinary sky gods contend against it? Continue. Lin Tian's voice was indifferent. As his voice faded, even more Emperor-level killing patterns appeared. Even though they were all extremely damaged, the killing intent was still terrifying. Even more concentrated killing light immediately appeared. Pooh! 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 Blood splattered everywhere, accompanied by blood-curdling screams. Under the God Emperor level killing light, no one could withstand it. One by one, the experts from the chaotic tribe died as they screamed in agony. After 7 breaths, the ground was completely dyed red with blood. Among the thousands of experts from the chaotic tribe, only 5 divine sons of the chaotic tribe, Han Wei, Han Du, Han Di, Han Dunzi and Han Dun were still alive. However, the 5 of them were in an extremely miserable state. They were already on the verge of death. Awesome. This is too awesome. Whooshing Crocodile couldn't help but howl. White Tiger, Ling Yun and the others also laughed. Thousands of experts from the chaotic tribe had killed their way to this place, and in the blink of an eye, there were only 5 of them left. How could they not feel comfortable and refreshed? It's your turn. Lin Tian's gaze fell on Han Wei, Han Du, Han Di, Han Dunzi and Han Dunzi. With a thought, the killing patterns in the sky released immortal killing light. In the situation where there were only 5 of them left, he controlled them with his mind and condensed 5 immortal killing swords. Clang! The 5 killing swords let out an ear-piercing sound. Each of them was aimed at one of the 5 divine sons of the chaotic tribe. Then, in an instant, the 5 killing swords arrived above the heads of the 5 divine sons of the chaotic tribe and directly slashed them. The turbulent killing intent froze the void in all directions. The 5 divine sons of the chaotic tribe were directly restrained by the killing intent. However, at this time, an invisible force suddenly appeared. It was far more terrifying than the killing intent of the Emperor runes. The 5 Emperor-level killing swords that were slashing toward Han Dunwei and the others were instantly shattered. Moreover, the Emperor God killing patterns in the surroundings were also destroyed and disappeared in an instant. A tall figure appeared in this place. His body was surrounded by terrifying chaotic light and his eyes were extremely deep. Han Wei, Han Du, Han Di, Han Dunzi and Han Dunzi were shocked and then overjoyed. King! The 5 of them bowed in unison. At the same time, Lin Tian's expression changed. White Tiger, Ling Yun and the others were also shocked. The tall figure was obviously the King of Chaos. Why did this pervert jump here? Didn't he fight with that old bastard outside this ancient road? White Tiger felt a chill down his spine. Lin Tian also felt a chill run down his spine. He never would have thought that the Primal Chaos King would actually reappear on this ancient road at this time. He appeared in front of them like this and instantly crushed all the God Emperor level killing marks on this ancient road. Facing an existence of this level, at this moment, just the natural intertwining aura of the other party made him feel as though it was hard to move. The pressure at the end of the Divine Emperor level was too terrifying, it could suppress all living things. Let's go. He gritted his teeth with difficulty. The Sun Heart Sutra vibrated and he relied on his incomparably strong willpower to break free from the powerful aura of the King of Chaos. He wrapped by Zeki and the others in golden divine light and directly fled into the distance. In the face of such an existence, he knew very well that running away was useless. However, he still did so because he did not want to stand there and wait for death. Swoosh! He circulated the Sun Heart Sutra to the limit and the duality steps to the limit. In an instant, he crossed an endless distance. King Na Ji Bai Chi and the other clansmen who stepped on this ancient road have all been. Han Dunwei bowed and reported to the King of Chaos. In the end, he did not continue. The King of Chaos's body was surrounded by endless divine light. His eyes were incomparably deep and incomparably cold. His gaze fell on the end of the ancient road and then moved to Lin Tian. His eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. Those people's techniques have all been mastered. His voice was extremely cold. Then, his gaze fell on little Taichu. Immortal Spirit Imperial Family, descendant of the Immortal Spirit Emperor. With a boom, the chaotic killing light directly appeared beside him and slashed straight at Lin Tian. It also enveloped by Zeki and the others. Chapter 1840. As the King of Chaos made his move, his weak divine emperor aura completely sealed off the surrounding space. Lin Tianyi and the others couldn't move in an instant. They could only watch as the King of Chaos's chaotic killing light pressed down on them. Old thing, as a peak divine emperor who has lived for so many years, you actually attacked a few little guys. Shameless! The King of Chaos's chaotic killing light that was pressing down on Lin Tianyi and the others was instantly shattered. At the same time, the divine light palm that was grabbing at the little Taichu also shattered in an instant. A gray-robed old man appeared in front of Lin Tianyi and the others. He looked at the King of Chaos with a disdainful expression. Lin Tian was delighted. "Old man, you came just in time!" This gray-robed old man was none other than the old hooligan. At the same time, the white tiger, Ling Yun, and the others who knew the old hooligan heaved a sigh of relief. They knew how powerful the old hooligan was. He was definitely not weaker than the King of Chaos. Now that the old hooligan was here, they no longer had to be afraid of the King of Chaos. When the 5 divine princes of chaos saw the old hooligan, they couldn't help but narrow their eyes. Previously, they had seen the old hooligan fight with their clan's Wang Zhengfeng. He was a peak divine emperor who was not the slightest bit weaker than their king. "Old fart, you're pretty quick to escape." The King of Chaos looked at the old hooligan and said coldly. The old hooligan ground his teeth and pointed at the King of Chaos as he cursed. "I even walked out of a place like the wantless void domain unscathed. How long do you think you can keep me trapped in this lousy prison?" Hearing this, Lin Tian immediately understood. Previously, when the old hooligan and the King of Chaos fought outside the ancient road, the old hooligan seemed to have been trapped by the King of Chaos's great technique. After that, the King of Chaos rushed to this ancient road and destroyed the divine emperor, killing marks on the ancient road that he summoned. Then, he attacked them. The old hooligan just happened to escape and rushed over. "No matter how long it took, I still trapped you. Even if it's just a breath, it means that you're not as good as me," the King of Chaos said indifferently. "Not as good as you. I'm not happy to see your ugly face. I'll go raid your lair another day," old bastard said. The King of Chaos's face darkened, and his expression became somewhat ugly. His eyes became very cold. "Old fart!" Back then, the old hoodlum had taken advantage of his absence to sneak into the Chaos Imperial Palace in his Chaos world and looted most of the rare treasures he had collected over the countless years. That was one of his scars. But now, this matter had been brought forward by the old hooligan, and he said that he would go to his lair again in the future. This was undoubtedly exposing his scars. "Look at your flustered and exasperated look, but you can't do anything to me. One word, satisfying." The old hoodlum did not have the imposing manner of a god-emperor expert at all. The King of Chaos's expression turned even uglier. "Old bastard!" His voice was ice-cold. As his words fell, he directly grabbed at the old hooligan. The murderous light of the chaos surged and was terrifying. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" The old hooligan directly slapped the ancient road, causing it to tremble violently. The 2 peak god emperors collided in the blink of an eye. The aura of the god emperors was vast, as if it was going to destroy everything. "Young man, this old fart, I'll block him. You and your partners immediately go to the end of the ancient road and try to get the world seed. Even if you can't get it, don't let the Chaos tribe get it," the old hooligan said to Lin Tiandao. Lin Tiandao's expression changed slightly, and then he nodded. He was going to do that anyway. Then, he called Bai Ziki and the rest to leave the place and head to the end of the ancient road. The old hooligan was not weaker than the King of Chaos. With the old hooligan blocking the King of Chaos, he did not have to worry about his safety at all. The King of Chaos's eyes were cold. He raised his right hand, and a large amount of murderous light of the chaos was formed, bombarding Lin Tianyi and the rest. "Old fart, your opponent is this old man." The old hooligan directly shattered the murderous light of the chaos with a slap. The King of Chaos's eyes were cold as he looked at Hun Hun Wei, Hun Hun Wu, Hun Hun Di, Hun Hun Zi, and Hun Hun Hun. "Don't worry, King. We'll definitely get the world seed," Hun Wei said. He naturally understood what the King of Chaos meant. Then, he and the other 4 divine princes of the Chaos tribe chased after Lin Tianyi and the rest. Now, the King of Chaos had destroyed all the Emperor-level murderous patterns on the second half of the ancient road. They no longer had to worry about the threat of the Emperor-level murderous patterns. The old hooligan looked at the 5 of them chasing after Lin Tianyi and the rest. He did not stop them because he knew it was useless. If he could stop the King of Chaos from chasing after Lin Tianyi and the rest, the King of Chaos could naturally stop him from killing Hun Wei and the rest. Old fart, be careful that all the divine princes of your tribe are buried on this ancient road, the old hooligan said. Divine power surged as he slapped the King of Chaos. The world seed belongs to the Chaos tribe. The King of Chaos's voice was cold. The murderous light of the Chaos surged and suppressed the old hooligan. As the murderous light of the Chaos surged, the space trembled as if it would collapse at any time. The aura was terrifying. A primitive murderous aura intertwined. Every wisp was as heavy as heaven and earth. The human king's second disciple also has a chaos physique. He was much weaker than you back then, but now he's probably on par with you. TSK, I'm really looking forward to that little guy meeting you again. Then, he'll crush you with the chaos immortal river that you're most proud of, the old hooligan said. The King of Chaos's eyes were cold. I was able to suppress him back then, and I can do the same now. The King of Chaos was unbridled. Keep bragging. The old hooligan despised him. The 2 peak emperor gods clashed. Destructive airflows swept in all directions. Everything with form was collapsing. Lin Tianyi and the rest left the place and headed toward the end of the ancient road at top speed. Speaking of which, we should have asked that old man just now. Who got the order crystal? The white tiger said. That's not important. Ignore it. Lin Tian now looked at the end of the ancient road. Let's go get the world seed first. As he spoke, the golden divine light outside his body boiled and became even more intense. He flew with the group. Clang! It was also at this time that the clanging of swords reverberated. It was very ear-piercing. Behind him, Han Dunwei and the other 4 divine princes of the Chaos tribe caught up. They slashed out dense killing swords from afar. These 5 bastards! Whooshing Crocodile cursed. At the same time, his face became somewhat solemn. Han Dunwei and the other 4 divine princes of the Chaos tribe were all very powerful. Even though the 5 of them were injured by the Emperor God-level killing formation that Lin Tian had summoned, they were still a huge threat to them now. All of you must die. A cold voice sounded behind them. Han Dunwei and the other 4 had cold eyes. They did not hide their killing intent at all. Chapter 1841. Han Dunwei, Han Dundu, Han Dundi, Han Dunzi, and Han Dun caught up. Even though they were severely injured, they were still experts who could kill an early divine king at their peak. At this moment, Lin Tian could not help but frown deeply as the 5 of them chased after him without the Duhun elixir and God Emperor level killing runes. However, he had no way to deal with them at this moment. He could only speed up and rush towards the end of the ancient road. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. The 5 divine princes from the chaotic tribe took action and slashed out their killing swords from afar. The killing swords pierced through the void and came before Lin Tianyi and the others in the blink of an eye. Lin Tian used the golden divine light to bring Bai Ziki and the others to move at an even faster speed. At the same time, he held up the reincarnation diagram of the king's territory. It was mixed with a sacred and majestic aura as it faced the slashes of Han Dunwei and the others. He did not stay for long and activated the 5 heavenly thunders skill as well. Together with the yin-yang steps, he rushed forward at an even faster speed. You have no way to live! You must die! Han Dunwei and the others said coldly. They had 10 divine princes and thousands of powerful clansmen. Lin Tian had killed 5 divine princes and thousands of clansmen in a short period of time. The 5 of them almost died as well. This made them want to kill Lin Tian to the extreme. Swoosh! 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 With the sound of the air breaking, the 5 of them sped up like Lin Tianyi, and gradually closed the distance between them and Lin Tian. Lin Tianyi looked behind him as he sped towards the depths of the ancient road. Seeing the 5 of them getting closer and closer, he could not help but frown again. The situation in front of him was really terrible. Whoosh! A gust of wind blew from the ancient road and a small forest appeared in front of them. Lin Tian had a faint white mist floating around. Lin Tian did not pay attention to such a scene at first. However, in the next moment, his pupils moved slightly and a ray of light appeared. This is... Looking ahead, he was a little surprised. Then, he could not help but smile. What's wrong, kid? Whooshing Crocodile saw his strange expression and asked. At the same time, he kept looking back. Seeing that Han Dunwei and the others were getting closer and closer to them, his expression couldn't help but become very solemn. Lin Tian smiled and said, It's nothing. I just found a good place. As he spoke, he sped up and led Whooshing Crocodile and the others towards the small forest in front of them. In just a dozen breaths of time, he landed in this small forest with a group of people. Inside the small forest, the air was filled with white mist, giving off a fairy-like feeling. After entering this small forest, he led Whooshing Crocodile, Ling Yun, and the others forward for more than 300 meters before stopping. Brat, why did you stop? Ling Yun asked. At this moment, Han Dunwei and the rest were chasing after him. Lin Tian actually stopped at this moment. Right at this time, whooshing sounds could be heard as Primal Chaos Wei and the other four landed in the small forest one after another. Not running anymore? Why don't you run? Han Dunwei looked at Lin Tian and said coldly. Beside him, Han Dundu, Han Dundi, Han Dunzi, and Han Dunshi also had cold gazes, and their killing intent was shocking. No need. I'll send you on your way here. Lin Tian looked at the five of them and said indifferently. Hearing his words, Bai Ziki and the others were moved. Brat, you have a way to deal with them? White Tiger asked. And Yao Yao and the others also looked at him. Lin Tian didn't say anything and only nodded. On the opposite side, Han Dunwei and the other four still had cold gazes. With your current strength, can you deal with us? What a joke! Without external strength, you're nothing, Han Dunwei said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, he didn't say anything else and directly stepped towards Lin Tian. Murderous light intertwined around his body. Murderous sword light appeared as he stepped forward and slashed towards Lin Tian. At the same time, it enveloped Bai Ziki and the others. Lin Tian could feel the terror of this murderous light, but at this time, he didn't care at all. Then I'm really sorry. I have external strength now. He smiled. As he spoke, he stomped his right leg on the ground. Dragon patterns scattered and instantly caused the entire small forest to tremble. The white fog floating in the small forest rolled. Then, white light surged out from the ground and gathered into a dense white sword light in the blink of an eye. It directly slashed towards Han Dunwei. With a sizzle, Han Dunwei's murderous light was shattered in the blink of an eye. Moreover, a powerful force spread out and sent Han Dunwei flying. Bright red blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. You! Immediately, Han Dunwei's expression changed. At the same time, the other four chaotic divine princes also changed their expressions. Brat, what are you? Whooshing Crocodile and the others were also shocked. At the same time, their eyes lit up with joy. Lin Tian suddenly displayed such powerful strength, and was able to suppress Han Dunwei and the others again. The terrain here is very unusual, Lin Tian said simply. When he saw the small forest, he didn't pay much attention to it at first. However, he soon realized that there was an annihilation immortal layout under the small forest. It contained extremely rich power of heaven and earth. Even a peak divine king would be greatly threatened by it. He stepped in and used the dragon burial scripture to mobilize the power of the annihilation immortal layout under the ground. It was enough to deal with Han Dunwei and the others. Hearing Lin Tian's words, Whooshing Crocodile and the others' eyes lit up even more. They naturally understood what Lin Tian meant. There was an earth-shattering situation in the small forest. Lin Tian used the dragon burial scripture to mobilize the power of the natural situation here. Good, good, good! What good luck! The heavens want these little bastards dead! White Tiger laughed heartily. The God Emperor level killing rune was destroyed by the King of Chaos. They were once again chased by Hun Dunwei and the others. Their situation was extremely bad. However, they never thought that they would encounter a terrifying power of heaven and earth pattern. Lin Tian was able to move the power of such a heaven and earth pattern and suppress Hun Dunwei and the others once again. On the opposite side, Hun Dunwei and the other four shensis had ugly expressions. Even though they didn't know how Lin Tian suddenly displayed such terrifying power, they knew that Lin Tian now had the power to suppress them again. Retreat! Hun Dunwei gritted his teeth and ordered the other four shensis to retreat quickly. Lin Tian was too strange. They had suffered a great loss at the hands of Lin Tian and almost died. At this time, seeing Lin Tian suddenly mobilize such a strange power, they naturally wouldn't be careless and were extremely cautious. Don't even think about leaving once you've entered, Lin Tian andao. As his words fell, endless dragon runes spread out from the bottom of his feet. In this small forest, more white light suddenly rushed out from the ground and turned into a white light realm that completely enveloped the small forest. With a few bangs, Hun Dunwei and the others had only retreated a few hundred feet before they were all knocked back. You! Their expressions were very ugly. As one of the 10 shensis, I'll send you to see the 5 shensis so that you can gather together again. Lin Tianling smiled. As his words fell, even more dragon markings rippled out from under his feet, causing the entire small forest to tremble once again. A waterfall of light rushed up from the ground, exuding an extremely terrifying aura of destruction, directly pressing towards Hun Dunwei and the other 4. P.S. Let me tell you something. The dragon will be delayed for 10 days. During these 10 days, there will be various activities, and she will have to go to various places. She won't be able to update normally. From today until the 21st of this month, she can only update once a day. Sorry. Then, as usual, the Dragon Empress will definitely find time to make up for the chapters she owes during this period. Please rest assured. Chapter 1842. The waterfall of light was 1,000 feet tall, completely formed by the power of the Annihilation Immortal layout under the small mountain. The intertwining aura was too terrifying. Even a pinnacle divine king would be terrified by such power. Hun Dunwei, Hun Dundu, Hun Dundi, Hun Dunzi, and Hun Dunshi changed their expressions on the spot. At this time, under the situation where they could not escape, they could only brace themselves and support all their divine power to resist. Boom! The waterfall of light condensed by Lin Tian's Annihilation Immortal layout shook and rumbled. In the next moment, it collided with the divine power of the 5 people. Sizzling sounds were heard. In the blink of an eye, the divine power of the 5 people was completely crushed by the waterfall of light. At the same time, the power of the waterfall of light did not dissipate. It continued to press down on Hun Dunzi and the others. In the next moment, it firmly landed on the 5 of them. Poof! 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 5 waves of blood splattered. Hun Dunzi and the others were all crushed by the waterfall of light. Although the power is far inferior to the previous divine emperor killing marks, it is definitely enough to deal with these 5 bastards. Whooshing Crocodile snickered. Destroy them! The white tiger shouted. Of course, Lin Tian now said. However, if I really want to kill them, it can't be done in an instant. After all, the power of the Annihilation Immortal layout that I can control is limited. I can't truly unleash its full power. As he said this, he looked ahead. In that direction, the sound of flesh squirming echoed. Hun Dunzi and the others were not destroyed in body and soul. At this time, they reformed their bodies. After reforming their bodies, they looked at Lin Tian at this time. At this time, the 5 people's expressions were exceptionally ugly. Lin Tian's cultivation was clearly far inferior to theirs. Clearly, every time, they were the ones chasing after Lin Tian. Every time, Lin Tian was at a disadvantage. However, in the end, they were always the ones in danger. This change made them feel suffocated and very uncomfortable. You all look very uncomfortable? Very uncomfortable? Lin Tian looked at the 5 people and smiled. The expressions of primal chaos Z and the others were already very ugly. At this moment, when they saw Lin Tian say such a sentence with a smile, it was obvious that they could hear the mockery in his words. Human, don't be too proud. Without these external forces, you are nothing, Han Dunwei said coldly. Lin Tian sneered. But I just have some external help. I'm just proud. What can you do about it? If you're not convinced, you can also bring in some external forces. Han Dunwei's face turned even uglier and colder. If he could really summon such power, would he still have such an ugly expression? He had long used this power to kill the person in front of him. Nothing to say? Lin Tian looked at the man. Then die. As his words fell, there was a boom. In this place, the power of the Annihilation Immortal Layout Underground was once again mobilized by him. Wave after wave of Annihilation Immortal Light trembled and pressed down on Han Dunwei and the others. Fierce auras intertwined, directly shattering the nearby void. The white mist that originally existed in the air drifted in all directions. Han Dunwei and the others resisted with all their strength like before, but the result was the same as before. It was impossible to resist such a powerful force. The divine power light screen was instantly shattered and then exploded again. This time, the 5 still did not die. Their divine souls were not destroyed and they quickly reformed their physical bodies, but their auras were much weaker. You want to kill us? It's not that easy. The 5 of them gritted their teeth. Although they felt a great threat, and although their expressions were ugly, they did not admit defeat verbally. Lin Tianling smiled. Then let's see how long you can last. The dragon burial scripture operated and the power of the Annihilation Immortal Layout was mobilized by him again, crushing towards Han Dunwei and the others. Once again, the bodies of Han Dunwei and the others exploded. Then, Lin Tian directly used the power of the Annihilation Immortal Layout Underground to activate the God Transformation Talisman, which fell on Han Dunwei's divine soul. No! A desperate and unwilling scream rang out. After Han Dunwei's body was destroyed, his divine soul was also destroyed by the God Transformation Talisman. Old 5! Han Dunwei and the others were shocked and angry. Among them, another one was killed by Lin Tiansha. Don't worry, I'll send you to see him immediately. Lin Tian now. As his words fell, his right leg shook the ground. Dragon marks intertwined under his feet and a large amount of Annihilation Immortal Light intertwined, turning into rays of Annihilation Immortal Light that drowned Han Dunwei and the others. In front of the ancient road, the pressure of the Divine Emperors intertwined. Every strand was extremely terrifying and seemed to be able to crush everything. The King of Chaos and the old ruffian were fighting fiercely, and they were evenly matched. At this time, while fighting the old ruffian, he looked towards the depths of the ancient road. The place he was looking at was where Lin Tian and the others were. Old fart, I was right, wasn't I? The 10 divine princes of your primal chaos clan will all die on this ancient road. All of them died in the hands of that little guy. The old ruffian clicked his tongue and swung his hand to suppress the King of Chaos. The King of Chaos's eyes were extremely cold. He smashed the old ruffian's divine light with a slap and then stepped towards where Lin Tian and the others were. His eyes were filled with coldness. Naturally, he could sense what was happening there. Han Dunwei had died in Lin Tian's hands at this time. Your opponent is me, this old man. The old ruffian moved and stopped the King of Chaos. As he swept out a large amount of immortal light, he said, I advise you to obediently return to your primal chaos world. Don't think about killing that little guy. You felt that aura more than 10 years ago, right? The person who emitted that aura is very close to that little guy. Be careful not to provoke that person. When that time comes, destroying your primal chaos clan will be a piece of cake. The King of Chaos's eyes had been very cold since he appeared, but at this time, he couldn't help but be moved when he heard the old ruffian's words. You know that person? Is he related to that ant? He stared at the old ruffian, and his voice became a little lower. More than 10 years ago, an extremely terrifying aura suddenly appeared between heaven and earth. It clearly felt that the aura was only at the half-step Divine Emperor realm, but that pressure was too terrifying. Thousands of Taoists were frightened, and countless ancient existences were shocked awake from their deep slumber. The King of Chaos naturally felt that aura, and his heart was deeply shaken by that aura. If the person who emitted that kind of aura appeared, he was very clear that even if he was at the peak of the Divine Emperor realm, he wouldn't be a match for him. To be able to emit such a terrifying aura at that level, it couldn't be described as terrifying. He didn't expect that the old ruffian actually knew who that person was, and said that he was very close to Lin Tian. The old ruffian chuckled and didn't say anything more. He waved his hand and interweaved divine light, shaking the entire ancient road. Divine Emperor realm aura surged violently. Deeper into the ancient road. Hong! Chapter 1843. The Annihilation Immortal Layout contained boundless power. With Lin Tian's current cultivation base, even though he was unable to mobilize all the power of the Annihilation Immortal Layout with the Dragon Burial Scripture, it was not difficult for him to deal with the four of them who were still alive. Buzz! Wave after wave of killing light surged towards the other party. All of them were formed by the power of the Immortal Annihilation Layout, shattering the great void. Naturally, the four of them did not dare to be careless in the slightest. They all used their strongest divine power to resist, interweaving chaos runes one after another. However, the power of the Immortal Annihilation Layout that Lin Tian mobilized with the Dragon Burial Scripture was too strong. In just an instant, the surging divine power of the four of them was directly crushed into pieces. Then, wave after wave of Immortal Annihilation light continued to press down on the four of them. Pooh! 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 Bloody mists exploded one after another. Hun Zi and the other three could not withstand such power at all. Their physical bodies were shattered in the first moment. The bloody mist floated in the air like specks of stars. It was a dazzling sight. Good! Crush them all to death! Whooshing Crocodile and the others sneered, feeling very good. The sound of flesh and blood squirming was heard. The four of them did not die. Their immortal divine souls shook and quickly reformed their bodies. The four of them gritted their teeth, their expressions extremely ugly. As strong as they were, the 10 great divine children of the primal chaos world had the strength to kill early-stage divine kings. Their cultivation base was clearly higher than Lin Tian's, but they were suppressed by Lin Tian's strange power time and time again. Then, they were ridiculed by Wishing Crocodile and the others who were weaker than them. This made them feel extremely sullen and uncomfortable. What's the point of relying on external forces? Do you dare to compete with real battle strength? Chaos gritted his teeth and stared at Lin Tian. Sure, suppress your cultivation base to the same level as mine. I'll crush you with a finger. Lin Tian Andao. What a joke! I cultivated step by step. Why should I suppress my cultivation base to fight with you? Primal Chaos said coldly. Lin Tian said disdainfully. This is an external force. I use my own methods to pull it out. Why should I not rely on it to fight you? Primal Chaos Z was at a loss for words. Lin Tian had actually used his own words to pressure him. Alright, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Lin Tian now. As soon as he finished speaking, the ground beneath his feet trembled. In an instant, even more annihilation amplification immortal light intertwined and pressed down on Hunan. The speed of this annihilation killing light was too fast, and its aura was too sharp. With a pop, it was crushed into pieces. Moreover, this time, even his spirit body was severely injured, and it was covered with cracks. It's about time. Die. Lin Tian now. As soon as he finished speaking, he formed a seal with both of his hands. The dragon patterns in the sky intertwined and transformed into a 1,000-foot-long dragon. Roar! The dragon threw its head back and roared, pressing straight toward Chaos' divine soul. Chaos' divine soul trembled. He didn't even have time to reform his physical body. He dragged his broken divine soul and dodged. Moreover, the other surviving divine princes of the primal chaos joined forces to stop the dragon from attacking primal chaos' divine soul. However, the dragon's power was too strong. These people's help had no effect at all. The divine power they had unleashed was instantly crushed, and their physical bodies exploded one by one. At the same time, a scream was heard. Chaos' divine soul couldn't dodge the dragon's bombardment, and was directly hit. In the next moment, his divine soul collapsed. His body and soul were destroyed. Suddenly, the 10 divine princes and the 3 remaining divine princes of the chaotic clan who had come here all had extremely ugly expressions on their faces after they reformed their physical bodies. "It's your turn." Lin Tian didn't give them any time to breathe. The dragon burial scripture was activated to the limit. He performed one of the core secret skills of the dragon burial scripture and directly transformed it into a rain of killing swords. The 3 divine princes of the chaotic clan were horrified. They all felt an extremely terrifying aura of destruction. They resisted with all their might, even burning a wisp of their life origin to forcibly increase their combat strength. However, they were already at the end of their rope. The speed at which they burned their life origin was too slow. They were directly interrupted by the 4 symbols seal activated by Heaven's Annihilation Immortal Layout. Then, a large amount of annihilation killing light crushed toward the 3 of them. Pft! 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 Blood splattered everywhere as the 3 of them shattered into pieces. One of them was directly destroyed in body and soul, while the other 2 survived. However, they were extremely weak. Their souls were covered in cracks, and it was difficult for them to reform their physical bodies. "Why waste your energy to repair your body? Just die!" Lin Tian's voice rang out. With a rumble, the dragon burial scripture was activated again, and the surging power of the Annihilation Immortal Layout pressed down mercilessly. This time, the 2 of them couldn't dodge or dodge. They were directly drowned by the surging Annihilation Immortal Layout and disappeared from the world. "They've all been killed! Good!" The white tiger laughed loudly. "The 10 primal chaos god children all died on this ancient road. The king of chaos will probably cry his eyes out," Wishing Crocodile said. Lin Tian shook his head. "Not necessarily," he said. "Although the 10 of them were very strong and were named as the 10 divine children of chaos, their deaths would be a great loss to the chaotic tribe. However, an ancient existence like the King of Chaos would not be affected by the death of 10 divine children." Wishing Crocodile thought for a moment and said, "That makes sense." The King of Chaos was a peak god emperor before the primordial era, the king of a race. It didn't seem like he would feel heartache over the death of 10 geniuses of his race. "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's hurry to the end of the ancient road." Lin Tian Andao. Apart from the King of Chaos, everyone else who entered this ancient road was dead. The King of Chaos was blocked by the old hoodlum. At this time, he wanted to take advantage of this great opportunity to rush to the end of the ancient road and try to obtain the world seed there. He called out to Bai Ziki and the others and quickly rushed to the end of the ancient road. Boom! Further ahead on the ancient road, the King of Chaos and the old hoodlum were still fighting fiercely. The battle was very intense. The aura of the God Emperors annihilated everything. TSK, did you feel it? Old Chaos, I was right? The 10 geniuses of your primal chaos race have all been killed. The old hoodlum laughed loudly. The King of Chaos' eyes were cold. He naturally felt that the aura of primal chaos god children had all disappeared. They had all been killed. However, other than the coldness in his eyes, he did not show the slightest bit of anger. Clearly, although he felt that it was a pity that Hun Dunzi and the others had died, and that it was a loss to the clan, he did not really take it seriously. Boom! Divine light surged all over his body, shaking all directions. He wanted to head to the end of the ancient road and personally obtain the world seed there. The old hoodlum naturally knew what the other was planning. He directly threw out a large amount of killing intent. Don't treat this old man like air. With a rumble, the 2 peak god emperors collided. The aura was extremely shocking. The space collapsed in pieces, Lin Tian killed primal chaos god children. At this time, his speed was very fast. He called out to the group of people and headed to the end of the ancient road. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. Chapter 1844. Faint holy light intertwined. It was only the size of a thumb, but it seemed to be pregnant with all possibilities. This is the world seed? The group was shocked. When they reached the end of the ancient road, a thumb-sized cluster of light interweaved in the chaotic, distorted space. It was hazy and surrounded by a vast and incomparably dense aura, causing the group to instantly think of what it was. Such a thumb-sized thing intertwined with such vast divine power. If it wasn't the world seed at the end of this ancient road, what else could it be? Lin Tian's eyes were intertwined. Looking at the world seed in the chaotic space, he immediately beckoned the group to move forward. The group nodded and stepped forward. Then, in the next moment, except for Lin Tian, everyone trembled and stopped. Cold sweat even slid down their foreheads. What's wrong? Lin Tian naturally saw the group's abnormality. Bai Ziki, and Ai Yao Yao, Fanning Xiong, Yang Qi, and the others all looked at Lin Tian. White Tiger asked, "You don't feel it?" "What do I feel?" Lin Tian Wei frowned slightly. The group looked at Lin Tian, and they were all moved. Wishing Crocodile said, "A lot of pressure. Just like when we faced the Order Crystal." "No, the pressure is countless times greater than that. Now Lord Crocodile feels that we can't move forward anymore." "Same," Lingyan said. Bai Ziki, and Ai Yao Yao, and the others didn't say anything, but from their eyes, they could see the same meaning. Even little Taichu couldn't help but murmur in a childish voice, just like Wishing Crocodile and the others. At this time, they felt that if they took another step forward, they would definitely face more terrifying pressure. That kind of pressure seemed to be able to easily crush them, causing them to instinctively feel a sense of death. Lin Tian's expression changed slightly. Everyone in the group felt such pressure? However, he didn't feel anything. "You really don't feel anything?" White Tiger asked Lin Tian again, looking at Lin Tian's relaxed expression at this time. "No." Lin Tian shook his head. This caused the group of people to be moved. No matter how they looked at it, this situation was somewhat unusual. It was also at this moment that a wing sound rang out. At the end of the ancient path, within the chaotic space, the world seed trembled slightly, and an even more astonishing radiance swirled about. It was like the primordial light of the great world, vast and terrifying. At the same time, almost at the same time, faint rays of Tao light appeared outside Lin Tian's body. They were also vast and intertwined, as if they could cover everything in the world. Lin Tian was slightly shocked. As the world seed in the chaotic space at the end of the ancient road trembled, the nameless Tao law in his body took the initiative. Strands of nomological power intertwined outside his body and seemed to resonate with the world seed. This, Bai Ziki and the others were moved again. Naturally, they saw this scene and felt that there was something unusual about it. "Your strange Tao seems to be resonating with that world seed?" Wishing Crocodile glared at him. "Yeah." Little Taichu also stared with big round eyes, obviously surprised. Lin Tian sensed the nameless Tao law in his body intertwining on its own. He sensed the world seed trembling at the end of the ancient road. The resonance between the two became more and more obvious. The shock in his eyes couldn't help but become more intense. This nameless Tao law was comprehended when he stepped into the half-step Great Tao. He never knew what Tao it was. He didn't expect this Tao to automatically resonate with the world seed when he stepped into this place at this time. This really shocked him. Looking at the world seed, he was a little stunned for a while. Wishing Crocodile and the others reacted at this time. Wishing Crocodile stared at the world seed in front of him, clenched his claws, and said to Lin Tian Dao, "Kid, hurry up and go forward. Lord Crocodile feels that you can definitely get that world seed." "Absolutely. Yes. Hurry up. Master Tiger feels the same. You can definitely get the world seed in your hands." White Tiger followed. At this time, the group could feel the huge pressure from the World Seed. They couldn't even get close to it. However, Lin Tian wasn't affected at all. Moreover, the Tao in his body even resonated with the World Seed. The two intertwined with the same vastness and vastness. This was already a sign. At this time, they all had reason to believe that Lin Tian could definitely get the World Seed. Lin Tian's eyes were intertwined with light. In fact, his gaze had already fallen on the World Seed at this time. He took a deep breath and moved. Step by step, he walked toward the chaotic space that shrouded the World Seed. His footsteps were slow and powerful. He was carefully on guard because the chaotic space was extremely terrifying and had an extremely terrifying destructive power. Even though he didn't feel the enormous pressure like the 5-elemental crocodile and Baiziki, and even though the nameless Tao Law in his body was resonating with the World Seed, he still appeared to be very careful. Debier. 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 Heavy footsteps sounded one after another. After dozens of breaths, Lin Tian came to the edge of the chaotic space that wrapped the World Seed. After pausing for a moment, he stepped into it with one foot. Then, he stepped into it safely. This made his eyes light up. There was no problem. The next moment, he stepped out again. His body was completely submerged in the chaotic space. The terrifying destructive power that originally belonged to the chaotic space didn't suppress him. At the same time, he still didn't feel the slightest pressure from the World Seed. The resonance between the nameless Tao Law in his body and the World Seed became more intense, and the Tao light became stronger. He went in safely. Whooshing Crocodile and the others stared straight ahead with surprise in their eyes. At the same time, there was strong anticipation and excitement. In the chaotic space, Lin Tian was very close to the World Seed. After taking a deep breath, he started to walk forward. After dozens of breaths, he finally came to the side of the World Seed. At such a close distance, the World Seed was like a sparkling and translucent pearl. There were no Tao patterns or divine inscriptions on it. There was only pure radiance and boundless vastness. It was only the size of a thumb, but it gave off a feeling that it was countless times vaster than a major world like the Immortal Realms. Moreover, as he got closer to the World Seed, the nameless Tao Law in his body vibrated even more violently. The light that the World Seed emitted also became stronger. The nameless Tao light and the World Seed's light vibrated and moved closer to each other. In the next moment, the two lights collided and then started to merge. Buzz. An even more shocking and vast aura surged. In an instant, the chaotic space in this place started to collapse, turning into infinite power that surged into the World Seed. Then, a blinding light pillar shot up and enveloped Lin Tian and the World Seed at the same time. The vast and boundless aura seemed to penetrate the entire world. In an instant, the entire ancient road shook. The Chaos King and the old hooligan were shocked and looked at the end of the ancient road. That kid really got the World Seed? You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.